Hey everybody, hey Kevin. I am using a new monitor and it's a little strange to get used to because it's a 1440p monitor and I have it set to its native resolution. So this monitor that you're seeing me cast is in 1080p. So things are a little bit bigger. And then on the other monitor, they're a little bit smaller and the mouse seems to move slower on it because of that. But the refresh rate is higher. What was that? What was that? Where's chat? Mystical Cell, thanks for the resub. Hey, I'm too. Hey, Caleb. Yeah, so oh wow, Chef Alton, you too. Thank you. Thank you both for resubbing. Let me move this a little bit. There we go. Yeah, anyway, I gotta use that. But the refresh rate is 100 hertz and it is noticeably smoother. I am very surprised. I did not expect to see this big of a difference. I thought you'd swap them and have the high res one. Technically, the one you're seeing is the high res one. The one you're seeing is 4K, and I just have it set to 1080p because it would be too small in 4K, I think. Although I guess no, yeah, I think it makes more sense to stream in 1080p. The other problem, I guess, is trying to stream a 1440p monitor to people who are probably watching in 1080p. Anyway, doesn't matter. But yeah, so it's cool. High refresh rate makes all the difference. Painful using 60 hertz display. Yeah, it's one of those things where if you've never really used a higher refresh rate display, that you probably don't really care too much. But then as soon as you use it, you're like, oh. And I don't know what my phone is. I have a Pixel 8 Pro. I don't know what it goes up to. It might be 90 hertz. I'm not sure. Resize the UI and the max settings too if you want to look at 4K. Yeah, yeah. And I have, hang on a second, engage privacy mode. I'm not sure what this ever shows. Yeah, give me a sec. I can show you this really fast, but there are a couple things to consider. Okay, here it is. So here's my monitor. If I were to set this to 4K, everything gets tinier by default, right? And it's like, I would just need to zoom in in each application. But the reason I don't like doing this is because if you see like the tab bar is really tiny, and then it just becomes harder to click things in my opinion. So that's why I set it to 1080p. I think it's just much more usable for me. Yeah. Hey, Dark. So odd when people can't see that difference. So my wife originally didn't see it, and then the way I showed her yesterday was I opened up Skeleseller. I opened up two windows, and now we have this setting in the game where you can turn VSync off and change it between 60 and 100 very easily. So I did that, and then I panned around on the left side of the screen. I panned around on the one that was set to 60, and she's like, "Yep, I definitely see that." So I think if you can do a side-by-side comparison, then it might be a little bit clearer. Hey, Smack. Should be an actual setting to set UI scale bigger across the board. I don't know if there is beyond that setting that I just showed. Maybe there is, but I guess I don't see much of a point changing it. If I'm going to zoom in to like 2x on everything anyway, then is there really a big difference between setting it to 1080p? It's not that the monitor is working in blocks of 4 pixels, still rendering fonts and everything, making use of all 4K. Yeah. So it's probably pretty much the same thing. Anyway, today we have Skeleseller stuff, but then also we have mentoring. Mentoring is going to happen at 11 my time, which is 2 hours and 14 minutes from now. So not quite 2.5 hours of stream up time. And then yesterday, I didn't do as much as I wanted, but I don't want to like beat myself up about it. I think I did a decent amount. I merged a bunch of PRs. I got done with some other like minor Skeleseller work. I don't think I'm going to look into these PRs right now. But this one I think is really, really cool for the game. Kevin added an outline shader. So you can now, well, this is a video. I wasn't actually showing it. But yeah, you can now outline things that are selectable. So we could do a couple of things with this. One is when you hover over something that's selectable, it could outline itself. So it'll make it obvious it's selectable. And two is if we want you to select something, we could outline it and maybe even get a really thick outline to make it clear that you can click this thing. And then as a demo, He also outlined every tree in the game, which kind of makes them look like stickers, right? I just realized that. Yeah, it makes it look like these were pasted on. Anyway, today is going to be about finishing the skill tree stuff that I'd started and then starting the customer state machine. I think that'll take all day. Probably like 5 hours of work at least. And then there are only a few remaining things, which hopefully I could just get done with tomorrow. And that way on Friday, we could tackle, I don't know, maybe sound effects or something. Show Gamertown. I'd like to. If you could link me the browser link for it, I would open it, but I don't want to go through all the DMs right now and make sure I don't leak stuff. Yeah, so new tree needs to show you the cost of each ability. We should just ditch the plus and minus buttons. All right, so let me show this. Hey, Ross. In your About section under the stream, it says you haven't updated your website in years. However, I was wondering if the development efficiency course is still relevant. I think it is relevant, and I actually have updated that one. I updated that somewhat recently. In fact, let me go to adamlearns.com and take a look at. I should have put a note about this in there. Yeah, I updated on December 26, 2023. I think it's all still relevant. If you are on Mac, then you will benefit from a very recent video. And actually, someone purchased this within the last like week. But yeah, these are all things that have been sort of the cornerstones of how I use a computer and just sort of how I speed things up. I think the only difference, if I were to like make this course again right now, I'd probably talk about something like Copilot. But I think just knowing that I would talk about Copilot is almost the same as me talking about it. Because, you know, like you can probably tell what it would do. And it's like, okay, I type private here and it'll just come up with some new code. It's like, that's it. That's the tip. And maybe I might talk about how I use it, but how I use it is just autocomplete. So it's not that interesting. Oh yeah, no, it's easy to miss, Ross. I don't blame you for that. Ross, I'll tell you the same thing that I tell everybody though, when they at least talk to me about it on stream, expressing any sort of hesitation about buying it. If you're not happy with it after buying it, I can just give you a refund. I mean, I offered this to people through the stream. So far, no one's taken me up on it. But yeah, I don't want you to feel like you got shafted or anything and aren't happy with your purchase. Doesn't have promotion on her phone so she can see them side by side? She just doesn't see it. Oh, okay. You know, I was commenting on this the other day, but there are parts of the US where they don't know, they don't pronounce these words any differently and don't hear the difference in pronunciation of pen and pin. And that's just crazy to me. It's just crazy. It's like, how could you not hear that? Week has been terrible. I'm sorry to hear that, M2. Use a Copilot tip as the basis for another 8-hour course. Yeah, and if I were to talk about it, I'd probably make sure I have at least a minute or two of content. But in general, I don't think it's worth kind of dragging those things out, especially not in an efficiency video. Got to be parsimonious with your words. Yeah, that's me. Oh no. Oh no. All right, so here's what we did last time. We made this skill tree, but if you recall, if anyone was watching on Monday, I had 3 buttons here. So it'd be, the first one is level 1 of the skill, the second one is level 2, and the third one is level 3. I didn't like that. I felt like it was a little strange. So I consolidated them all into one, but now there's something that's a little bit strange about this, which is this part of it. Now we have to say what's going to happen at each level. I think having a table might be good. Can BB Code do tables? Apparently it can. Although I'm not, yeah, I could say like level 1 num customers, you know, 1, 3, 5, whatever. No idea how to get a browser link. It tries to download the file, but here it is. Downloaded it for me too. But anyway, okay, so that outline thing I was talking about, Kevin made Gamertown, where you can see the RGB outlines around the trees. And I was thinking, and I mentioned this to Kevin, what if we had like a silly options menu and you could actually turn on Gamertown and it just looked like the trees are glowing and it does nothing else? Like, is that funny? Is that cool? Is that distracting? I don't know. Spawns like plus 15 customers. It'd be kind of neat if we had a Botland bot as one of the rare customers, and when that happened, it made all the trees go nuts. Hey, Couch. Anyway, thanks for sharing that, Kevin. Yeah, so we could add in a table. I might as well try this because this is like dead simple to try. So let's go add in a rich text label, put this here, and then zoom in. Okay, well, tables do not seem to work. Godot rich text label. Maybe they didn't code them in here. Table, no, it looks like they're tables. Must be inside a table tag. I wonder if it just uses different syntax. Oh, that's weird because it's BB code. Color equals red. Huh. Wonder what's going on. Yeah, I wonder what's going on. I wonder what the BB code would be for a table then. Why it's preferable to HTML. Well, HTML is like the sort of building block elements. So you'd have something like a div or something like that, I guess. I don't know. I think BB code was pretty much like, let's make everything be the semantic elements that we want for color and tables and whatever. It's pretty similar, I guess, in the end. I'm gonna look at this on the Godot GitHub. Maybe someone's talked about it. And if not, this is not a big deal, but I think this would be a nice change to make eventually. Is there like a BB code table? And I'm guessing table with overlapping the next line. Table cell. Oh, you have to put table equals 3? Oh, interesting. And now, okay, well then this isn't gonna work. Let's try that. Cell name age and then change all these things, I guess. Delete these. All right, does that work? Hey, it does. There are no borders. There might be a way to customize that. Yeah, I think there were ways. Table border. Maybe. Maybe there's BB code for this. I don't know what it is. Table border. Huh. Hey, Bitcoin. Welcome in. I saw you in someone else's stream when I raided. Oh man, but now I don't remember whose it was. Majestic. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, how's it going? Welcome in. I think it goes in the cell. Interesting. It's not what I would have expected, but I guess that makes sense. In case you want to put a border around an individual one. Let's try that out. Border equals, I don't even know how you specify this. 255.00. You put parentheses? Do you? I don't know. We should just figure out what the BB code is when you do this through code. Anyway, the point is, I think this is maybe a slightly better way of rendering this. You could say something like adds max customers according to this table. And it could say the level and then the number of max customers. And I think that's pretty clear. Take care, Mr. Cassell. Hope you have a good day. So I'm gonna copy paste this into here as a polish thing. This isn't even what I wanted to do right now. Considerations, consider making the skill tree or the perks tree use a table. See code below. Yeah. Note, need to figure out borders. And may want to use alternating colors. Oh, right. Of course. Man, I did not think about that. I have another color right up there. Border equals blue. Yeah, that worked. I wonder how you set the border width. Border width equals 5. Border underscore width. Border equals 5. The width equals 5. How do you do that? Maybe that's not possible. Border, color, table border. It's just a, yeah, I think it's just a border. Or sorry, it's just a color. Cell color. Yeah, maybe that's not possible. Table, VB code table, border width. Table and list support. This doesn't exist here, does it? Oh, wow. Look at that. Huh. I was just on the wrong page, I guess. Yeah, border color. And that's the only time they mentioned border. I don't think it's a big deal. And I think we can change the background anyway. So yeah, I'll just write this here. Borders just seem to be colors on individual cells, e.g. border equals blue. See this? All right. Is BG equals color for the cell background. Yeah, but I think they have something for the table itself that lets you have alternating colors. Yeah, table, even, row, BG. So what we could do, I'll just type this in, I guess. Let's just see really fast. So I could set that this is red. That doesn't work. Maybe it's called something else. Even color and odd color. Even color. No, it's not that either. What am I doing? Huh. I don't know. Oh, BG. Oh, I see. You just specify them like that. So we could say something like BG equals blue, red. No, that doesn't work either. What? Cell background color? Oh, you can give every cell. Okay, that's not how I would have expected that you do this. All right, you apparently do BG equals like green, blue, and then you put that on literally every single cell. Yeah. Okay, well, this looks pretty nice and makes it so that you don't really need a border. I mean, obviously the color choice doesn't look very nice. We wouldn't make it white on green text, but the idea is cool. All right, then yeah, I think we're gonna do that. And I think this only works if you have, let's say, fewer than like 5 levels. You don't want to be looking at some mega table inside of a skill tooltip. So let's edit this. Yeah, we can alternate colors for rows by specifying something like BG equals blue, green for every cell. A little weird that they did that. Like, why not just put it on the table? Anyway, the other thing we could do, I guess, if we did that, is we could highlight the current cell a different color. We could do something like just set this to red, for example, and this indicates that you're at this level, or just put a border around this one. In fact, let me write that down too. Then I'm done. I didn't even want to look at this right now. Maybe we put a border around the current level. Yeah. You have experience with front-end frameworks and libraries? Yeah, I do. When we were working on Botland, I was using React for everything, and then React just sort of became the default choice for a lot of other things that I did. And then making Atom Learns, I made Homepagerizer. What else? I don't know. Just different little things here and there, I guess. All right, so back to reality here. What I want to do is I want to put a cost label here. I'm not sure what I want the UI to look like exactly. Right now we have your current level, which I think is a good thing to do, but maybe once we have the skill table and the tooltip, it won't be as important. And just knowing what, actually sure what I want. Love the art style. Well, thanks. Yeah, I can't take credit for anything, but I also like it a lot. What do we want to do here? Right now, it's the skill icon and then a level 0/2, let's say, and then a plus button. And I want to put the cost there. I guess I want the level to show still. So what if it was like icon? Maybe it shows like this. Buy 500G. Don't you think the web people have figured out UI and game engines should just start adopting? Yeah, I generally think so. Also, I think it's nice to have sort of one UI language regardless of where you are, whether you're on the web or whether you're in a game engine. Like, this could be fine. I don't know for sure that I want to do it. I guess let's just see what it looks like rather than me mock it up in text. Skill button. All right, so we're going to just copy this entire thing into a new scene. Can we do that? Yes, we can. And then we're going to change this. So there would not be a remove points button. There wouldn't be an add skills button. This would say the total level. So 0/2. And then beneath it would be a purchase button. This would be a VBox container. And this would say something like buy 500G. So is that good? Maybe it's just one button. Like this just has a new line on it. And it says buy 500G. And then this is gone. Well, I guess this would need to say the level then. Is that good? Am I full-time on streaming? I'm not full-time, no. My schedule is that I stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And on those days, it's close enough to full-time. I try to stream for 6 hours. I used to stream for 32 hours a week, and that was my absolute limit. So I'm trying not to get close to that anymore. So now I stream for about probably 19 or 20 hours per week. The button could also just be 500G. Could just say, I think it's, well, I don't know. All right, how about this? Let's take all of the different examples that we have and just crown them all in a GIMP and then take a look at what looks best. Oh, I see what you're saying. Like, is this my main gig? Yes, this is, yeah. All right, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna hopefully, what in the world? Did it? What did I just do? Did I make a new? No, I resized this. Wow. I meant to make a new image. I don't even know what I clicked. I guess I resized the current one. Anyway, here's one option. So I'm just going to put all the options in here, and we're going to see what looks best. The next option is we just put a price here. Now let's copy that. Did I copy it with that? Yeah, I did. How do we truncate that? There. Oh, they're different zoom levels. I don't want that to influence anything. Drat. Okay, well then let's stay at a particular zoom level. 200, sure. Let's use that for everything. Let's also bump this whole thing down so that I don't get that pink line in there. All right, I know this might seem tedious, and I guess it, whoops. Oh. How do I use a computer? All right, so delete this. That doesn't even work. We got to merge this down. There. Okay, now let's go back to that version of it, which was where we had buy and then in parentheses. Oh, wait a second. I don't think it's the zoom level changed. I think it's at the the button just increased in width, which caused the icon to go up. Oh well. Shows 0 out of 2 in a corner inside the icon, then just the button with 500 gold. Yeah, that would probably work. We can try that out. Famazon, you gotta do a lowercase letter because I have not changed my bot yet. Anyway, the other thing that I had been thinking about was this, which is you have these in 2 separate buttons, which I'm pretty sure I don't like, but I'm gonna put that there too. And then we'll do Kevin's idea that he just suggested. All right, Kevin's idea was to have this just be a label. It's going to look like a button, but that's not a problem. Why can't I resize this? Children of container. Oh, I see. Control. There we go. So this would go here, and it'd be made a lot smaller. And then this would just say 500G. This would probably be a little bit smaller as well. Maybe font size changes to 12. Something like that. And then I guess the other way we could do this is delete this entirely and just have a cost and you hover over it to see the details. I have to hover over this one to see the details. Or whatever, I don't care. It's good enough. I'm not trying to make this a great image. And we'll just draw a little arrow to this one. This is the cleanest. The one where we just have a price tag on this. But I do think knowing the level is important. Out of curiosity, does this look any better to me if I put the level below? No, not really. Maybe it's the 2 buttons idea, but the top one is the label. Top one is the label. Oh, just 0 out of 2. Like we put this back down here and get rid of that. Like the bottom left, if there's a bunch on screen, you get tedious to get an overview of your stats. Well, something to consider here is that these can't be respecialized. So there's no way you'd want to go down in level, or no way you could go down in level. So once you purchase one of these, you have the benefit. Yeah, I guess the other thing we could do is show the cost on hover. I don't like that idea though. Hey, Mr. Evil Rex, and hey, Lupus. Make the top button flat to see what I mean? I do not follow what you mean by make it flat. Oh, what? What does that mean? Flat buttons don't display decoration. Oh. Oh, interesting. Oh, that's pretty cool. Hey, 3D extended. Yeah, that could probably work. Maybe we spell out level. Yeah. Maybe put it above the icon and the cost below. So we do something like this. Not I'm not sure what looks better. Yeah. Or the cost above and the level below. You're saying do something like this. Oh no, I don't like that. Something just looks wrong about that. Who is your game for? Do you mean like who commissioned me to make this, or you mean like what's the target audience? Also, hi Josh. Have I tried using Unity? I have tried using Unity. Is there a big difference between Godot and Unity? I mean, there are differences in how they accomplish the same general things. Like if you think about what is a game engine, it's going to handle rendering, probably sounds, music, input, maybe distribution as well, or rather publishing, I guess, not really. Like builds for platforms, I guess, and some other things. So how Unity does music, for example, is going to be slightly different from how Godot does it. But in general, they're both going to have the ability to play music. And it's like both have the ability to render things. They follow different paradigms within that. They have different sort of quirks. But so it's kind of hard to say, but I'd say they're like similar enough where if you know one, learning the other shouldn't be too bad. Thanks, Josh. I still don't know what your question is though when you said who's your game for. Never mind. I know who you want it to be for. Okay, sure. Cool. I don't think the level above works unless we change the ones for abilities. It looks odd to me. Level on top, icon middle, and then bottom button. Well, we could change the ability ones too, I guess. But I think it would look weird because these would be up here and then it'd be the ability, which looks wrong to me. And if we're going to do something for consistency, then I guess what we would do is we would just have it look like this. Yeah, I think I like this the best. I think it's what we should do. Is that a sword, a starship, or a pencil? It's a temporary icon, but it's a sword. Or a dagger, I guess. It's a thrown dagger. All right, so how do we do this? We want to keep the skill button intact. Maybe we should just make another skill button at this point. Maybe just leave, maybe just the level above as a label and minus and plus below could work. I don't know about that. Yeah. Cost above and make the level a button. Well, the level is going to be a button anyway, even if it doesn't look like a button. Although maybe that's a bad idea. Yeah. How many people do you want to buy your game? I mean, I guess as many as possible, but how many people is like realistic? I have no idea. I just checked the wish list stats and we're up to 232 wish lists. And as a frame of reference, apparently on average, within the first year of most games, 60% of the wish lists convert to purchases. So if that were true, we'd have about 139 purchases based on just the wish list within a year. Again, who knows? It's an average. It doesn't apply to everybody. 30 million people. Yeah, I think 30 million sales is pretty reasonable. Requires you to hit the 20K mark though. Is that what that's based on? Is like 20,000 sales and then your wish list? 2 conversions would be an accurate stat. Yeah. Okay, so do we use a different skill tree here? Or it's different skill button? So the new skill button, wait, first of all, let's not forget what I want to do here. This is the one I want, right? So let's put a rectangle around this and put this inside GIMP. Yeah. So that's the one we're going to go with. And it's just different enough. We make a new class or have... Yeah, I'm just going to make a new class. I don't see why we wouldn't. So if skill button was the kind that has respecs... Satchmo, thanks for the resub. Happy 51 months. There's a threshold before people get an email saying your game is live. Oh, really? That's weird though, right? Like if you wishlist it, wasn't that the whole point of wishlisting is it tells you when the game is out? How many tools are you using to make this? Really just kind of Godot, unless you consider things like VS Code or Chrome or things like that to be tools. But yeah, pretty much just Godot for right now. I am doing well, Satchmo. I hope you're doing well too. Yeah, so skill button has respecs. I guess this is more like a buy button with a level. Maybe we just call it a buy button. Although, could you also buy other things? I guess you could. Maybe we call it like a town perk button. Yeah, that's probably pretty good. Or maybe we should make it a little bit more generic than that. Maybe purchased skill button. Yeah, that. Cool. So this has no respecs, slightly different labels. Okay, well, this is not going to be fun. Yeah, this won't be fun. It's a lot of refactoring of this thing. And all because we don't have exactly the sort of button layout that I want here. Yeah, well, what are you going to do? All right, purchased skill button. Purchased skill button. All right, we got to give it a different script. Yeah. Value exchange for goods, pressable element. I think we need more words in it. So attach script. Where'd the other one go? Skill button is inside scene script. Okay, let's put this in there too. Why am I making a game? I have always liked game development, and I've been keeping track of game ideas that I've had for a very long time now. And it's a fun process, and it's nice to sort of, this is going to sound either cheesy or haughty maybe, but it's nice to bring joy to the world. Cheesy, I think, is self-explanatory, with the haughtiness suggesting that I could bring joy to the world with this game. But you know what I mean. It's a fun product. All right, next up we need skill button to inherit from a skill button base. Skill button, save as skill button base. Then load up skill button, have this inherit from skill button base. Break a whole bunch of things in the process. All right, now let's go change. This needs to be in a namespace. Cool. Hey, Crace, it's going well. We are hopefully going to get to customer state machines today. We just have a mini boss in the way, and the mini boss is the skill button stuff that we're doing right now. And the short story is skill buttons in the game right now have typically a way of respecking. So like you can click the button to add a point, you can right click it to remove a point, or you can click the plus and minus buttons to do the same things. So these are how skills typically work. This does not work that way. These are purchases. So you can't sell your purchase. You can only add points to this. So there's no need for a minus button, which was our only change so far. But because plus costs you something other than a point, you now need to know the cost as well. So yeah, we're going to change this button completely. And now that we have enough differences, we're going to make a different class, and we're going to have to refactor this. And it's just going to be a little bit tedious for a little bit. Sadness and mourning to the world. I mean, it is a game about death. Hey, Schrodinger's. All right. So let's go change the UI for this. Whoa, I got to turn this down. Like way too loud. Rhett, thank you for the resub. Whoa, thank you for the 6 months of resub. Wow. Great to see you streaming again. Started watching you back in the early days of Botland. You inspired me to learn to code. Been a dev for a couple of years now. Congratulations on being a dev for a couple of years. Well, I assume you mean like full-time job. Although regardless, congratulations. I think it's really cool. And thank you very much for the support. And yeah, I've been back now for almost 11 months. Yeah. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see where this goes. I wrote about this somewhere. Let me see. Yeah, I made a video. That's where. I didn't write about it. But anyway, I'm trying to abide by certain tenets, and that way I could keep doing this stuff for longer. And it's a game dev now, but maybe in 3 or 4 years it's something totally different, or maybe it's still game dev, who knows. But yeah, I'd like to sort of see where all of this goes. 1 more month until it's full on stream focus. We finally get a cat cam. Cat cam is unfortunately gummed up. It's not in the works. Full time, full stack, nice. Full everything. I keep saying we're going to modify the UI and then I never do. So let's go do this. We want the main skill button to just be flat, and then there to be a cost button beneath it. And the cost button might as well be the add button, I guess. So in essence, this is just a slightly different. Ooh, wait, no, wrong thing. slightly different rendering of what we have here. So this changes to a VBox container. The main skill button becomes flat. Its label maybe changes. Let's write that down. Refactor skill buttons. The purchased skill button needs different label. It should say level x/y. And it needs to initialize with a cost in gold. Hey, Musha. What is making it flat to? Just removes the button decoration, makes it look kind of more like a label. This is what I meant, to make them more consistent. I'd have them one of these two ways, with the level being only a label. Just need to hide the minus and relabel the plus. All right, so general thoughts. I don't like this style of just having a minus and plus next to each other. But I guess it does make the button targets bigger, which is nice. Maybe, I was gonna say maybe arranging them vertically might be better, but even that I'm not sure about. But I see what you're saying for consistency. And yeah, I don't, you'll never have these open side by side though. And I guess as long as the UI is clear, I think this is fine. Yeah, I think I'm still gonna go with this. Do you get coins to level up abilities? Yes. So you are getting gold and you use that to level up. Well, indirectly you're using it to level up. You click train and that gives you a skill point, and then the skill point you can apply here. These are outright purchases, so these do just cost money. All right, so main skill button, and then this is the add points button, and this needs a different label. This is going to say, I guess, 500G. And this would say something like level 0/2. Can it be played on a browser? Technically, nothing will eventually stop it from being played in a browser, but I think the answer is going to be no, because it is going to be a sold game, and I think by having it be in the browser, the only way, either I'm doing payments myself or I'm doing it through itch, but like you can't do that through Steam. Steam would have to be a download. And I know you can have an Electron wrapper so that it can still be a browser-based game, although there's no need for that here. But yeah, I just don't see a need to make it a browser game. We run into an issue here, which is rather unfortunate, which is that I want this thing to have a maximum size. So if I were to just type a bunch of A's here, I don't want this thing to get larger. And I don't know how we stop that. Custom minimum size. Oh, maybe we put this inside of a center container. Center container icon. Oh, that does work. And now if we delete a bunch of A's, does it look weird or what? No, not really. I think that's fine, right? I wonder if that means we should have done the same thing for the regular skill button. Put the icon inside a center container. Because it's possible that this number gets large enough that that is a problem, right? Yes, that is possible. Although I don't think it's actually possible. Even if you have this set to 10, it's not going to happen. You need it to be set to 100, and we're never going to have it set to 100. But still, let's put this inside of a center container. Might as well do it for both of these, right? There. Can't run a Bitcoin miner. Wouldn't you still be able to run a Bitcoin miner? I think people have actually done this on web pages before. It wouldn't be maybe able to use the full resources of the computer. But then again, if it did use the full resources, you'd probably realize it is and then just close the tab. Oh, I guess that's the problem if it gets backgrounded or something. All right, so I think we have this all set up correctly now. Now we need to go and, like I said, do the tedious part here. Fun, fun, fun. So main skill button is going to exist on both of these. The remove button won't, and allow removing points is a thing that just shouldn't exist anymore. Was this only ever set for the... This can't be right. Yeah, this can't be right. Perk said it's a false. Okay. Oh, you love cats and can't have one? Well, I share pictures every once in a while. Is that not good enough? Removing points. Remove points button, not visibility. So we're not going to set this at all. It's going to be deleted. DDoS the game is browser-based. Click style, crypto mine, and attack other miner networks. Huh. Yeah. I haven't heard of that game. And I try to be careful about the sorts of idle games I play nowadays. I think it's just too easy to get sucked into idle games because they start out and they're fun and then they eventually are not fun, but then you're addicted. Hey, guest. Is this allow removing points? We don't even do anything else after that. Cat caused dopamine. I mean, the people who do have cat cams, most of the time, cats are just sleeping. So you might as well just be looking at a photo. Says the guy making a game with large idle mechanics. But that's the thing. I'm trying to make it different from how a lot of these other idle games work. This isn't intended to be a game that you leave running for like months on end. And as a result, I think it is going to be more fun while people are playing it. All right. So now we need the remove button. There is no try to remove point. Although, is there a problem with this? Aim skill button, click, try to remove point. I guess. Oh, there's a remove points button. We don't want that. Oh, which means you got to override that thing. Oh, man. Oh. So much to do. Yeah, so much to do. This is the right button. Delete that. And then, sure, I guess merge it. Hey, Raimo. Stealthily shred the toilet paper roll. Our cat doesn't do that. Are they fun because are they fine because you log in once a week, buy your things, and then leave it again? I think if that's how you play, it's probably fun. But if you play in constant anticipation of something happening and you have to just watch water boil, I don't think it's fun. Hey, Phil. Yeah, then as kind of Mr. Evil Rex commented on, yeah, the camera is stuck. Let me turn this off and then unplug it, plug it back in. Yeah, as Mr. Evil Rex commented, monetization can get tied into the gameplay and they get sort of inextricably linked. It's not like I'll just pay for no ads or something. That doesn't really impact gameplay too much, but it's more like pay to progress. Okay, so this is fine. There technically isn't an add points button, if I'm not mistaken here. Okay, no, there is. Yeah, so then that's okay. Hide buttons. Why would we even do this? If we have tiers, I don't see a problem with this. At least I don't think I see a problem with this. What is this going to be used for? This is just used for skill buttons right now. Hide buttons equals value. That's enough for row. Skill table. These are skill buttons. You know what? Let's keep this in skill button. Let's not have hide buttons be here. We can always refactor this again. Add but. No, it's Abby. Dev efficiency course. This is awesome. The second comment on dev efficiency today. Someone asked to say the camera froze. Yeah, that's a good idea. Purchase, thanks, Rhett. Yeah. Geez, you came back and you're just like, gotta spend all the money. 6 months of sub. Buy the course. I appreciate it. I hope you get some value out of it. I think it is worthwhile. I I like making things free when I feel like they don't have a lot of value anymore. So there were 3 courses and they were originally all paid, and now the only paid one is the dev efficiency one. And it's kind of the same thing with my code. A lot of like even Botland, you used to have to pay to play the game, and now it's getting open sourced. And yeah, if Skeleseller eventually dies out, I'll probably open source that too. Okay, anything else here? If hide buttons. This is on the icon being clicked, but then it's also on the main button. Tried to add point and also on the add button. Yep. And yep. Cool. All right, now what about try to remove point? That's not necessarily a given here. Made an impact on my career in a big way. Well, I'm really happy to hear it. Truly. I hope you're not just sort of buying things to buy things. But I appreciate it. Curious, why do you open a new tab and write things you're saying and then delete it all? It's just sort of mental mapping, but it's hard to know when you start typing something how long I'm going to be typing for. And by typing something like this out, typing my thoughts, let's say, if later on, 5 minutes pass and I'm still talking about this, it allows people in chat to see how we got to wherever I am by just sort of following whatever's written in the buffer. Plus, I can't usually talk about one thing and then code another thing. That's really, really hard to do. All right, any other try to remove point stuff? No. What do you think about fair source for projects like this? Allowing you to safely share access to your company's core software products. For something like this, I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think people really benefit much from it. And there's a lot of risk. But I could see it for sort of bigger open source projects, like I don't know, a database sort of thing, I think could benefit from it. All right. I think we're in good shape now. We've made the base class, but now we need to reconcile the derived class with that, and that's going to be a little bit difficult. We don't need the mouse entered, mouse exited stuff. Allow removing points was only in here. Yeah. All right, what else do we have? The icon, abilities, ability ID, hide, add points button, main skill button, button supporting all clicks. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is what I was saying is going to be annoying, and it certainly is. Get private set. Yeah. We're going to need to rename this stuff. I'm not going to worry about that yet. And then add points button, same thing. Where's the add points button? Here it is. Protected. Get private set. Okay. Why does it say remove underscores? Oh, that's for stale stuff now. Yeah, so don't worry about that. Ability ID isn't needed. Ability level isn't needed. Ready needs to call into base ready. Then we only need the new buttons here. Right click, remove icon. Okay, so far so good. On mouse entered. This is, I'm guessing, private. Yes, now it needs to be protected. Init. Do we need to do anything special here? I don't think so. I don't think we need to do anything for this. For this, we do need to do something special. We call base.update label. Oh, I need to override this? And then just this bit. This we don't need. And then this, we need to do something special as well, which is kind of annoying. So this should be protected. Then protected override. So don't do anything in here, then call the base, and then handle what happens when you right-click an ability. All right. I think we're in decent shape. Yeah, let's try building this. I'm pretty sure there are errors, and it's even telling us about errors. Type or namespace. Oh, did I accidentally leave in an extra? Yeah, I did. All right, update label. We do want this to be here. Cannot override inherited member because it's not marked virtual. Same thing with on GUI input, whatever. All right, so virtual that one and update label. Yeah, now what's the problem here? Rename parameter so it no longer conflicts with the reserved language keyword event. What? It's got an at there. I don't know what that's about. Hey, unknown. I don't think you can include any of the assets at all in the release source, could you? If it was open sourced, no, you wouldn't be able to unless you sort of talk to the people who made the assets and say, "Hey, I'm not propagating my license. Is this okay?" But I think most people would just ignore it and download the stuff. And anyway, yeah, it'd probably be a problem. Aside from the hats on the snake pets, you could also buy decorative socks for the snakes to wear. Are hats very different from socks when we're talking about snakes? I guess they are slightly different. But isn't a hat just a very small sock for a snake? Did this build? I think so. Try running this. Hey, Sir Puffin. Just dump some tickets onto my lap and I'm a little annoyed. Oh, man. Sir Puffin, I feel like every time you come in here, it's tickets. Tickets overload. Tickets galore. It's like a Hydra. You destroy one ticket and two tickets pop up in its place. This built, and I'm guessing it. Oh, this. Wait a second. What? Did this build? What? How is this even? How is this even rendering? What? I don't understand how this is working. There's no minus button. How is there no minus button? I didn't change what type of component this is. Skill button. Oh, because we have allow removing points. This shouldn't be here anymore. That's why. We need to get rid of this. Oh, this is going to be a mess. Allow removing points. So we don't need this thing to be here. One day I will defeat it. I'll kill all of the heads at once. Actually, how... Let me look this up. In mythology, how were they supposed to kill the Hydra? Require the assistants to cut off all the monsters' heads and burn the neck using a sword and fire. Okay, that's how. Yeah, well, that's what you need to do. Solve every ticket at once. A nuke would probably do it. What if just two Hydras appeared? All right. So town perks now can't use skill buttons anymore. It needs to use purchased skill buttons. I guess this doesn't really change anything. So I guess it could just be a skill button. Oh my God. Does this inherit from something? Oh God, it does. This is gonna be very tough. Yeah, because of this. We get the buttons in the tree. Actually, that shouldn't be too bad. Yeah, we just need to set up all the other listeners on this thing. All right. Well, guess let's go do that. So we're just going to call this max customers 2 and customer speed 2. And then instantiate in a purchased skill button. I want the same transform as this has. Although it doesn't really matter too much for now. Copy value. And paste value. And then this should be called max customers. Should be made unique. And that's that, right? Yeah, that's that. Now the same thing for customer speed 2. This is just customer speed and gets the transform from here. Okay. Looks decent. Why not have the word as the icon? I think icons are just nicer for games, and it gives you a general idea of what it does without having to read anything. And we got that feedback in checkpoint 3, actually. It's like, I want icons instead of names for stuff. Okay, I'm going to try running this. And we got to set the label correctly. It's going to always say 500 gold right now. But it should function. If I click this, it should cost 50 gold. It did not. Clicking any of this doesn't work. Why not? I only cast a purchase skill button to a skill button. Why? Oh, because they should be skill button bases. Make it stop. Make it stop. So this would be a skill button base, which now means you can't do any of this stuff. All right, I'm gonna do all of this, and we're just gonna see if this works. I just highly doubt it. Skill button base. Maybe I should make the whole class generic. Or maybe everything just works. Who knows? This is player ability tree. The joys of refactoring. I know. I know. Not fun. So set button ability. Is that what that was? Yes. And this was virtual. So we need to find the other implementer of this, which is in the Skell tree. And this changes to be like that. And now there is no try to remove point here. How do we fix this? How do we fix this? We need to make different skill buttons entirely. Actually, we know that it's not this, right? We could just cast it. Let me try this. I don't like this, but we're going to try it anyway. On try to remove points, skill button. What does this do? Unlearn, modify. Yeah, that doesn't make a difference. Anything else? Base update. Okay, I'm gonna try running this. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I hope all this stuff just works. I mean, this looks like it's working. So cool. And now this, does this work? Again, it should only cost 50. Clicking it did work. Now it should cost 75. I should be able to click this. Yep, now it should cost 100, and clicking this should also work. All right, it even disabled the button correctly. Wow. So we have one more thing to do, then I want to take a break, which is to set the labels properly. And that's something that should happen in this class somewhere. Update label, I guess. Update the buy button as well. How did it even know how to do that? It wouldn't know the cost. Don't like this. I don't like it. So we call into the base and then we just override this thing anyway. So this is disabled. Yeah, okay. That part's clear enough. So we override this, call into the base, and say that this contains the words level here. Oh, but we need the data. What's data? Okay, fine. Yeah. Then delete this stuff. Maybe this should just be parameterized, like a prefix that we put on the button. It'd be a lot easier. Yeah. To do, consider just manifesting a what do we call this? Main skill button prefix property, something like that. But so that should work. Now we need the cost button to be set correctly as well. Cost button. Where do we update the label? We don't. Where do we know the cost? Right there. Try to add. Show and update tooltip. You don't have anything here for this. It must be in the scale tree then. Like number of scale points just changed. Dependent skills. Oh, come on. What do we have here? Modified available skill points. Oh, yeah, there it is. Update available skill points label. Text skill points and update number of skill points available. Okay, so what would happen here? Every time you level up an ability, we need to change the cost label, and we need to set the cost label initially. I am so glad we're doing this to start the day off. So here's where we would do this. Yeah. This is going to be base.set button ability. Then we need to, what's going on here? Base does not contain definition for set button ability. What? Oh, whoops. I'm in the wrong spot. Yeah, this should have been in Tom Perks. What am I typing right now? Override. What is this called? Set button ability. Yeah, set button ability. Got it. Okay, so yeah, in here you would set the cost. So this is a purchased skill button. Dot set cost label 500. No, let's make it like 1, 2, 3. Just make it something obvious. Then go make this thing exist. Set it to public. And this would go modify. This is technically, I guess an int is fine, but it should probably be a long. Hey, Andoran, welcome back. Thank you for the resub. That's quite a long time. I hope you're doing well. And hey, C++, yeah, of course I remember you telling me about the interview. Good until the programming question. I was asking LC easy and I didn't even get to run the code. I mean, that might still be fine. A lot of this is like figure out your thought process. Did the studying go well at least yesterday? Or I guess 2 days ago? And how do you feel in general? Because whether or not I remember you saying that the job itself sounded toxic. So whether or not you get the job might not actually affect your happiness at all. But yeah, how do you feel about this stuff? Hopping on and off every once in a while. Yeah. Well, what's the most exciting thing to happen recently to you, Endorn? As I started following you, I document all I do and write daily plans. Just raise my productivity. Nice, 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 nice. I'm glad. Yeah. Ask for some advice and guidance. Sure. NPS. Honestly, the interview was really nice, and for like the first 20 minutes, we were just chatting about random stuff. I think this is the sign of a good interviewer. Not the chatting about random stuff, but the putting you at ease part. I think everybody recognizes that interviewing can be tough, but not everyone knows how to actually do anything about that. And if you don't do anything about it, it just feels like it's a high pressure situation, and I don't know. You can eventually get to a point where you just sort of shut down. I'm glad that didn't happen. Planning on going to college. I'm 24 and in the US. Oh, this got a lot bigger. I am not used to that yet. Okay, my true passion is game design, making maps, levels of art. Been doing that on and off since I was young, but of course it's not a 100% reliable career. Should I just go full on into a computer science major? Only thing that sucks is it takes 4 years. Let's say I even complete and get my degree and do game design as a side hobby. No idea what to do after that as my main career. Look, a lot of this is very personal, so I'll just share some general thoughts. Game industry right now is not great. I'd say just general like tech industry is much healthier and more like range of options. So just from a sort of like, what do you want to do for your job kind of thing, I'd say probably just pursue general tech and do games for fun. And I will say to set your expectations correctly, you probably won't release many or even I guess any games if you are just making them for fun. And if that's a problem for you, I'd say that you might want to consider games as a primary job. But if it's not a problem, if you're just like working on them, then yeah, I'd say general tech is sort of the safer and easier route. I mean, I can expand on this if you want me to, but I think in general, if I had to boil it down to two things, I think the economics are just sort of borked. Like AAA games can cost 100 million plus, and they're big risks. And we just saw this happen. Like Concord was out for what, 2 weeks maybe, and the studio was just shut down. Or maybe not the studio, but the game. They said, that's it, we're done. We're not even ever going to release this again. We made some mistakes. We couldn't pivot. That sucks. Like imagine having a job there. You're working on this game for years, maybe. You love it. Nothing comes out of it, and then the studio gets shut down. It's like just think of how you'd feel. And it's not like that doesn't happen with general tech companies, but I think if you work for a place like, I don't know, Microsoft or even a medium-sized company, it's like it's probably not going to shut down the whole company. You'll be able to go somewhere else. And layoffs happen, of course, in practically any realm, but you have a sort of a parachute in terms of where the other jobs are in that company. Anyway, there was one other thing. Oh yeah, the 4 years part. So 4 years, I kind of look at it this way. What you're talking about is a traditional education, which yes, would maybe take about 4 years. You don't have to go that route. If you're very self-motivated, I would say you could just sort of teach yourself everything. Some people, this will never work for you. Like you just need the structure and you don't know how to seek out information yourself and you're not maybe as motivated. If you know you're one of these people, then I would say you should probably pursue a traditional education. You don't even need to finish the whole thing. You could drop out after 2 years or maybe get an associate's degree or something like that. But yeah, I think if you know that you're the kind of person who needs that structure, then there's kind of nothing you can do about that. Question was insanely easy. Could have solved it. My brain just went blank. Well, that's part of the practice. Oh man, I am not going to use this very quickly. That's part of the practice. You will eventually not have your brain blank out during an interview. You'll have the experience. So I applaud you for doing this C++. I think you will be much, much better the next time around, and then the next time, and then the next time. And before you know it, you'll eventually have a job, and this will all just be kind of a thing of the past. You have some examples of general tech, like cybersecurity. General tech, I mean, pretty much anything involving a computer that isn't games. So making a database, making a website, making a chat application, making filters in TikTok, something like that. Like anything. And yeah, cybersecurity is one of those things. So I don't think generally you need to think too much about the specialization for right now. Studio shut down yesterday, yeah. Skip trying to get junior dev job. In Poland, the industry is so saturated and juniors with junior paychecks are required to have 3 years of experience. Yeah. Yeah, I can't speak about Poland specifically, but I think the industry getting saturated it seems to be happening more for juniors in different parts of the world. And I think senior devs are still in demand, but obviously that doesn't help you if you're just starting out. You can't just skip to having like 5+ years of experience. Just your own projects. Yeah, then I would say consider general tech for sure. I know questions. Yep. Awesome. Again, this is why I think it's great that you did this. You'll never have fulfilling work. What? I don't think that's a fair statement. I think some people have fulfilling work. Also, hey, Radek. CS degree, you can do almost any type of tech programming. Yep. All right, sorry, I'm just skimming really fast. Make sure I didn't miss anything super obvious. Yeah, this is another good point. If you're dreading learning about computer science, that could be a sign. Then again, maybe it's just the 4 years that's a sign. I think for a lot of people, if it is the 4 years, it's like, yeah, you were just in school for what, 13 years of your life or something like that, and now another 4 years. It's like by the time you're considering college, this represents a quarter of your life. I did summarize my last few months for the mentoring session. I have way too much to share and to discuss. Hope we get through most of the important ones. Yeah, I'll let you steer as much as possible. This will be in about an hour. Is it still worth it to go for computer science? Yeah, I think so. Basically, here's what I think. If it's not worth it to go for computer science, the entire economy of your country probably has a problem. Because if tech jobs have died because tech jobs cannibalize themselves, then yeah, I don't think you'd want to be a lawyer or a doctor or anything either, because it's probably started taking over those jobs too. So I this might sound like it's like a stick your head in the sand kind of thing, but I just say don't worry about this too much and hope that the world works out. Yeah. Not you, I'm talking about these people. I mean, but these people might also have fulfilling jobs too. But if we were to just take a survey, there'd be at least one person in chat who has a fulfilling job. If it's not worth it, the country has a problem. Yeah. Yeah, and then those are the kinds of things where it's like, all right, now you're probably worried about other things. I mean, imagine, and I'm not saying it's an apocalyptic scenario, but imagine take any, zombie movie and say that happened. Are you going to be concerned about do I have a short commute to work? No, you're going to be concerned about like where am I getting my next meal from? How am I going to not have my brain get eaten? Anyway, I don't think it's that dire when it comes to computer science jobs failing. Just got to live in a van and learn to code. Yeah, maybe you can even code the van. How's it all going in here? Wait, Endor, did you answer my question? Let me see. Multiple escape rooms. Nice. Endorn, master of escape rooms. Maybe there's a room rune that you have now carved into your wall. Commute's getting 10x longer because the office is moving. You have to walk an entire 10 minutes to the office. Actually, I think having a 1-minute commute is a bad thing. And I think 10 minutes of walking is the perfect commute. It is the right amount of time to sort of disconnect. It's walking, so you never really have any variance in your commute. It's not like there can be a traffic accident. I guess a light could shift and it's 12 minutes instead of 10 or something, but yeah. Yeah, pretty much the ideal commute. All right, so setting the cost of this thing. You know what? I think I decided. I think I'm going to just skip the break for now and let's just finish this stuff up. Where's town perks? Okay, so this should work, except for we don't have the cost label. What is it called? Oh, it's the add button thing. Oh, which has a plus, but we never modify it. Add button. What's it called? It's not called add button, apparently. Oh, I'm not in the right class. Oh boy, there it is. Add points button. Yeah, I want this to have. Oh no, nice. I already had this. Wow. Yeah, so this should really look like this. Cost game constants dot money symbol. Yeah, now I'm pretty certain something's broken here. The economy fails when we rely on it. Rely on it alone, at least. What? Josh, I don't know if I agree with that. I think in general, in most of the last century, you've been able to rely on an economy existing. Even during the Great Depression, which is now almost more than a century ago, um, it's not like the economy never recovered. I have to sit in traffic for a minimum 30 minutes. Yeah, that's not good. Hey, Veggie. I think for some of the calculations, whether it's worth spending the time and money to go through 4 years of CS if they can just get a foot in the door. Yeah, I definitely think that's the case. And I think that the nice thing about computing in general is you don't need a CS degree. Well, don't even need a degree. And I mean, I've worked with people, I've talked to people. If you're at all curious about some of this sort of thing, I've done some interviews, and one of the recent ones was with Melmsy. This one, he created Dankmemer. Dankmemer has hundreds of thousands of monthly users, and he never got a degree, or at least never got a CS degree. I'm pretty sure he never got a degree though. And it's like, I don't think that's hampered his ability in any way. Nice to see you streaming again. Since I last watched you, I picked up Game Maker and Ace Spray. Nice. nice. Yeah, top-down realm, like I guess you mean Realm of the Mad God. I actually made, I don't know if I shared this with you last time, but I had a Godot course, and that's the game that you made as part of this course. It's on YouTube, so I mean, I'm gonna just share that Godot. Yeah, this. It's a series, so there's only video 1, but I'll link that. I think I might have accidentally linked it as a specific time as well. But yeah, if you take a look at where did I put this thing? I don't remember. Nope, stop talking. Sorry about that. Yeah, here was the game that I made out of this thing. This is practically impossible to control with this keyboard layout, so I'm going to just show you the game really fast. But yeah, if you're curious, this is open source. Where's my E key? Yeah, so it had the Realm of the Mad Gods, like rotation controls and billboarding, and you could move around the world and, you know, use abilities. There were enemies. Yeah, there they are. And experience points, and you level up, and you can go to different like enemy spawns and stuff. Hey, Titanium, haven't seen you in a little while. How's it going? Is this botland? No, that's not botland. Maybe want to open the notes of the last session off screen. I think it'll be hard if there's an image to not see it. Maybe what you should do is you should shrink the image down to like 5 pixels so that when you're ready for me to see it, you can just expand it. Also, hey, Funky Monkey. When did I make Jump Royale? I keep a journal. If you take a look at this, you can have access to it, and you can just scroll down to Jump Royale. So December 27th. And we finished on December 29th. Yeah. Cool. Now I won't have any spoilers. Jamming on your Halloween game going up on HJ. Oh, cool. You should share it in the show and tell channel on my Discord when you're done. I'd be curious to see it. Yeah, Realm of the Mad God. Yeah, I really liked Realm of the Mad God. Then I think it got like overrun with microtransactions. Well, I guess it's bound to happen. Okay, cool. This is working. So now it shows the cost, and now we just need the cost to be the correct cost. And then maybe this refactoring did not turn out to be so bad. So how do we get the cost of the ability? Down here is where we get it. Why do we do things this way? Also, what is the cost? Is it a long? Yeah, it's a long. Private, long, get cost. Get next cost, I guess. Get cost of whatever. Yeah, sure, that. That's it. So now we can just say long cost equals get cost of ability, pass in the ability ID, delete all this stuff. Get this for the button as well. We need the ID, we set the cost. We change this to a long, I guess. A login. And there's one more thing. Every time you upgrade the ability, it should set the cost correctly. And when it comes to saving and loading this, we got to make sure that we're doing that too. Make sure the cost is set correctly when loading. And maybe this is just given to me, so I'm going to try this. I don't know when we call set button ability, but I think it only happens once. So I think there is going to be a problem here. Yeah, we probably need to do something for this. And when it's fully unlocked, we got to figure out what it even renders. So hopefully, yep, that shows 50. And now when you click the button, it should show 75, but I don't think it will. Yeah, it won't. Okay, so we would do this here. But what do you do when it's fully unlocked? What should that look like? Maybe there just is no cost anymore. Yeah, that's probably pretty good. All right, how do we want to represent that? Public void hide cost label. I want to just hide this entire thing. It's, yeah. All right, so how do we figure out the next cost? We don't. Yeah, we need to know that it's at the max level. So we need to get this skill button by the ID. Purchased skill button equals that. Set its cost label, but then if you're at the maximum level, which how do we even check that? The max level is all abilities dot get ability ID dot max level. Yeah. So if it's at the max level, then hide the cost label. All right, let's try that out. Me like every day. Sometimes they're rough. Just leave the button and let them burn money. Remind me to never play a game that Caleb makes. Okay, so if I click this, it should go to 75. It did not. How did I mess that up? Cost is get this. Oh, because can add skill point is before you've actually added the skill point. So we need to know when we've added it. Where do we get that from? Modify ability level. Calls update tooltip. Where's update tooltip? It's private. The tooltip. Should probably be some sort of signal for when this happens. Player ability level change. There is a signal. Why did I not see this? Oh, there it is. Okay. Well, that's all we need to do is listen for that. Yeah. Wow, easy. In fact, we invoke this ourselves, so we could technically just not do anything special here, but let's do that. So plus equal on player ability level changed. Go make this thing. This can just be private down at the bottom here. And then update this stuff. Now we need the cost as well. I don't like how sometimes it's ability ID and sometimes it's ID. So I can't copy paste in between functions. So we get the cost. That's not even a good idea. I guess it's just this. Return, do that, put that there. All right, not bad. Let's try it. Maybe it goes to max when it's maxed out. I think it's going to be clear when it's maxed out because it'll just say like 2 out of 2 and the buy button will go away. We could also change the color of it, but that's already 2 indications. So I feel like that could be fine. All right, nice. Now it goes to 75. We click it again. Now we don't have enough money, so we can't actually click any of these things. But when we grant money and we click this again, it should go away. Yeah, perfect. Look at that. All right, nice. That was quite a long change. That was 90 minutes for adding a cost label. It was a little bit more than that. And I'm pretty happy with how we did this. Now, how does this work? Are these still fine? Yeah. Yeah, and are these functioning? We should see the characters move faster. Yep. Oh, by the way, as of yesterday, I just coded this thing where we actually changed the frame rate of the running animation based on the movement speed, which I guess is not super obvious there, but if you look at a customer, it might be more obvious. So if you take a look at just how fast the animation is playing, it's like 1 frame every 4 seconds. Or wait, other way around. 4 frames per second. And if I put points into this skill, it'll go up to 7 frames per second, I think, and then 9 frames per second. Or maybe I'm off by a little bit. But anyway, you can see their actual animation moving faster. That's kind of cool. I ever played Factorio? I played for about 45 minutes. I can't really play factory games. They just feel like work to me. So after some amount of time, usually once you start automating, I'm like, no. I'm playing a game to not be working. So yeah, I've never gotten into them. Been doing a lot of pair programming at work. One thing I love is that I almost always learn something new. Yeah, pair programming is pretty amazing. I really like it. And I was mentioning this the other day, but you're all in a pretty unique situation, and you actually are watching at least one dev streamer on Twitch. But most people will never watch another person code in their lives. And if you're not watching someone else code, even a coworker, how do you find out about little tips in your workflow? Maybe you're watching YouTube videos or something, but otherwise it's like you just need to discover them for yourself. Like something I do a lot of times in my code, this is not like some just random demo, although I can't find a good example, so I am going to give you a random demo. But I do this a decent amount where I'm like, okay, level is 3 and attack is 5 and defense is 10. And I'm like, you know what? All these numbers need to be multiplied by 3. And I just do this and evaluate it. And people are like, what did you just do? Even little tips like that where it's like, oh, well, this is an extension and I've got a link to this in a video. But even things like that, it's just a little tip. It might save you some time. You go, I might as well be doing work and then back doing work. Yeah. I'm not saying they're bad games, by the way. I just can't get into them. Okay, so I think we're holding off on the next break for like half an hour anyway, so we should probably go finish this up. This is done, this is done, this is done, and this is done. Yeah, we just got to go clean up the commit. And the only thing I was kind of wondering about was this. Should we just put a prefix label there? And I feel like we should. Although I'm not totally sure where we would put it. Maybe in init. I guess even in ready it would work. Oh, but then we need to call update label again. Yeah, maybe it's not worth doing. Yeah, it's already coded. All right, .NET format. Drag the execution pointer in Visual Studio. Yeah, there are tons of little tricks that you'd be like, if I could keep all of these in mind at the time, I would love them. I feel like Blender and Fruity Loop Studio have a billion of those. Fruity Loop Studio has like every single modifier on the keyboard can modify what you're doing with the mouse. So it's like command and left click is select notes. Command and right click is zoom in on a particular set of notes. Like alt and right click is play those notes. Like it just keeps going on and on and on. And if you know what all of them are, then yes, cool. Everything is just like one key press away. But otherwise it's very, very hard to remember it all. All right, let's look through all the changes. Skill button base, that's good. This is yellow for some reason. Oh, thinks there's a to-do there, but there is not. Yeah, generally it looks good. Oh, right, I forgot to change these things. What is this, skill button base? Okay, we got to look at skill button base. Anything else? Remove the code above. This is in town, and I don't want to remove this yet. Nothing else? Yeah, nothing else. All right, so skill button base. Still got to remember to do that. Visual assist, what is that? So people doing production have specialized keyboards. Yeah, actually this happens for video editing and stuff too, right? Do I have these? I think these need to be lower than the public ones. Like here. Oh, and then we got to remove the names of that stuff, right? Where? Oh man, where are they? I could have sworn I made something else protected and then never modified this or added in a property. Wholetomato.com. What is this? Oh, I see. Yeah. What is happening here? Hang on a second. I'm going to reload this. Physitronic. I feel like it's the monthly reminder about segmenting messages. All right. Public should come before private. Sounds fine. There was definitely an issue, though. I don't know where it is. I I made something protected that wasn't protected originally. It should have been the add button, right? Where is that? Wait, how'd this get capitalized? I didn't do that, right? What? I am so confused. I didn't do that. I didn't do that for the main skill button either. I don't know how those got. Oh, .NET format must have done it. Oh, I didn't realize it could do it. Is there a design doc or video for this game? There's a design doc, but it's not public. And even if it were public, it's incredibly long now. How many pages is this? 52. And this is just for the main design. I made a bunch of other design documents after that. But as far as videos go, I really need to do this pretty soon. I want to make a playlist of all the videos. For right now, if you wanted to watch them, you'd have to click this and then unfortunately just click like oldest and scroll down to about 6 or 7 months ago. Yeah, like here is where we did some prototype and design, I think. So probably starting in this stream, game dev, prototype and design. I'll link this particular one, but like I said, it should be a playlist and it's not. So you'd have to go find all of the ones after that. But yeah, every stream I've done for Skeleseller is archived. And if there's a quick question you have about it, I don't mind just answering it. But yeah, if it's like, what's the design of this game? That's not a quick question, I guess. Sure, you have a few times you can explain a bit about the game you're working on now and some of the ideas you have for it. Yeah, sure. So anyone who hasn't seen the game before, do pay attention now because I try to not do this a ton of times per day. We're making Skeleseller, and the way that this game is going to start is that you were an adventurer out in the forest. You're now the skeleton, and you died, and you started a town. Brief overview of the story. And you slowly build up your town. So some of these buildings were just kind of given to us because I'm playing a development build. But you have a guild master who lets you hire adventurers. And then with those adventurers, you go into battle. So I can send my rogue into battle. By the way, now we have these borders around the instances, which is pretty nice. Battles are automated. It's a very casual, laid-back game. And when you win them, you will get items, which then you can sell in your town. So I could just drag a potion onto this little display here. And now customers, who are these slow-moving characters, can come over and buy them. And customers are the main thing that we're revamping right now. They shouldn't just gun it toward any item. They should like act sort of like an actual customer would. Maybe wander around your town. Maybe eventually go buy an item. And then with the money you get, you can unlock new locations. You can get new adventurers. You can upgrade your current adventurers. You can build out your town. So that's the general overview of the game. What we're working toward right now is checkpoint 4. If you think about it like an alpha, it'd be V0.4. And it's going to drastically change what we have available now. So checkpoint 3, if you wanted to play, you could play. I do not recommend playing because it came out on the 27th. So we've had more than a month to work on it. And you'll notice there aren't too terribly many differences in the screenshots, but in the gameplay, you would certainly notice things. And yeah, we don't have a picture of the skill trees, but even the skill trees, it used to just be that each character had 4 skills and they could get to 5 levels each. So they were like sort of more boring in terms of skills. There was less variety. You didn't have to unlock them like this. And all right, have I finished this? I guess we have. What problems are here? Code should not contain multiple blank lines in a row. And then what's this one? Why is this? I don't understand why this issue is even here. In virtual interface, remember, rename the parameter event so it no longer conflicts with the reserved language keyword. It has an @ sign. How is that? How is that problematic? And why does this only happen here? Is it saying this for the base class? It's not. I don't get this. Or it's only saying it for the base class, excuse me. There's no, yeah, there's, I guess if we call this E, it should just be fine. Yeah, but why doesn't @event work? Huh. Oh yeah, totally fine, Veggie. Yeah, I do have an FAQ about this via the Skell command, but there's no trailer or anything, so even just reading through this is like more annoying than getting a visual. At event. I don't even understand why this is happening right now. CA1716 should not match keywords. @event is not a keyword though. Like what? Hey TJ. Yeah, I don't get why this is happening. I guess I'm just gonna name this E so I don't have to think about this right now. But I don't like that either because literally every other place I was able to type out @event. Like look at how many times this appears in the code. It's like 20 times. Why doesn't it work in this one time? Maybe we should just ignore the warning. Just suppress it here. I just don't even know why it's happening. All right, whatever. Any other problems? I don't care about the to-dos right now. And I don't care about any of this stuff because this is all temporary. Yeah, cool. All right, I think we're good. I'm gonna look over this one more time. Gonna hopefully do it a little bit faster this time around. Just want to make sure nothing's left in that should have been removed. We have the cost, we have the level on the buttons. I want to look at the UI one more time too, just make sure I like it. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. All right, let's go look at the UI. We don't have enough money, but now we do. Yeah, I think this is good. Cool. Cool. Let's check it in. Add cost labels for town perks. This involved refactoring skill button into purchased skill button with a common base class. Woohoo! Next up, if you don't have enough money for a town perk, it should probably disable the button to make it clearer. This may be a bit annoying since you have to look up the cost of abilities and then a skill button know that the cost could either be points or money. We actually don't need to do that. We could have the skill tree do that. Although I think that's a dumb way of doing it. We could have the skill button know it. Yeah, I think this is just a minor cost or quality of life thing. What's a good example of this? Can we spend money somehow? Yes, there. All right, so check this out. If I click augment portal, this is not disabled, but it pops up this not enough money thing. So that's option 1. Pop up a not enough money notification. And option number 2 is just disable the button. I think, I mean, you can see your money right here. So I think just disabling the button is probably enough. And we should honestly probably do that here too. But here I was concerned that it doesn't say the cost right here, so you might not realize why it's disabled. Although you probably would. Hey, APX. Supreme, hey, APX. Is it worth doing? What if we did pop up a notification? Do I even care? I think we should disable it. Fine, let's do it. Let's do the right thing. So we need to know when you've upgraded your money amount, when you've changed the amount of money you have. So let's close every other tab and then just open up town perks. We have the town here, right? Yeah, we do. So every time we make a button, we could have an on update money. I think there's a money change signal. Max money change. Money change. Yeah, here it is. So we could have money changed, and then when it changes, just have the button figure this out for itself. It doesn't know its own cost though. But there's no reason why it couldn't know its own cost. I mean, it has to set the text here anyway. Yeah, fine. Public long cost. Get set. This won't work, will it? Yeah. We need to make a private long cost that backs this. It would return that, and then set would do what we have in the set thing, add points button, and then set cost equal to the value. Then delete this. And in town perks where we have set cost label, I guess just change this to be cost equals and then delete the parentheses. Oh, that's supposed to be capitalized. Okay. Then we need a way of updating this. So now that it knows its own cost. Actually, wait a second. Was that even necessary? I guess because we don't manifest ability costs elsewhere. I was going to say it has the ability ID, and we use the ability ID to figure out the cost. The problem is it pulls the data from somewhere else. So not the best way of doing things, but it's not severe enough tech debt to actually work on. The thing that is worth working on is whatever's on my clipboard. Yeah, the money change thing. So we have two options. One is we have this thing listen for money change and then just update all of your abilities. And two is we have the button listen for it. I think it makes more sense for the button to listen to it, which would mean that every time we make a button, we need to do something about this. So this could just be purchased skill button. Purchase skill button like that. So now we don't need to do this thing. And then we could do something like skill button dot. Wait, do we have the town here? We do, right? Yeah. We need to know the amount of money you have. Maybe it could just be skill button update label. No overload matches. I didn't even know we had an update label. Yeah, we do. Update or like town money changed, money amount changed, money changed. Yeah, sure, that works. So generate that, put that here, make that public. Doesn't know what to name this thing. Should be money. And that's that. So if the money is less than the cost, you can't afford it, then this thing is disabled. Otherwise, it's enabled. And we should be fine now. Let's go try it out. So we build this. We have no money, so this is disabled. But if I click grant money, this should become enabled. Perfect. I spend money once, and then when I spend money again, it's going to get disabled. Yep, perfect. All right, let's have some items actually get sold here. So we're testing it without debug stuff. All right, when they sell enough potions, you'll see the 50 gold one become enabled. But I guess customers move really slowly. There we go. We need one more sale. Or at least of a red potion. No, not the stupid blue potions. Okay, there we go. Yeah, nice. So now it's enabled. We buy this. It's disabled. Cool. This is what we're gonna work on today. Making customers not do that. They just buy every single item that they see. All right, well, that wasn't too bad. This isn't needed. Looks good. Looks good. Yeah. Disable town perk. Disable purchased skill button when lacking funds. Am I doing a small lunch break today? I'm going to do the normal kind of stream. So in 27 minutes, it'll be mentoring. After that, it'll be the probably 1 hour lunch break. And then after that will be 3 more hours of streaming. So what do I have for lunch? I guess I could do a short lunch break. You know what I want to do? And I might actually spend a stream doing this someday. But I have a video on this Animal Royale, which for those who haven't seen was a Minecraft game that you actually play through Twitch chat. And you play as a sheep and you shoot TNT at all the other players. And I want to set this up so that it's automated and can just run on my lunch break over and over. I think that would be a lot of fun. And that way we have a game during the short breaks and we have a game during the long breaks. I don't know how many people would actually want to play this. But yeah, so you can see the sheep aiming. And then when the game starts, it's going to shoot TNT. Is it working? I just want to show this quickly. There it goes. Yeah. Could also just have a Jump Royale marathon. I think I want to keep Jump Royale as the short break thing. Because right now, the number of players for that is like, yeah, usually in the like 5 to 9 amount. And Animal Royale, I think is probably only fun once you get more than about 4 players. I don't know how many times people would want to play. Can also help with a plugin. All right, I might take you up on that. I'm not actually sure, and I need to figure out. Well, I don't know. I'll just write that on the backlog. Consider doing a stream after checkpoint number 4, where we set up Animal Royale for lunch breaks. I want there to be a simple command for this. Maybe is it Animal Royale time that can switch scenes and launch everything. What a less corny trigger phrase. Okay, so that's done. Next, make up the UI, take up a dedicated portion of the screen like the skill tree does. This should be very simple, but then I think we need to switch out of working on this stuff. Should be exclamation mark lunch break. Could be. Is it TNT time? That's not bad. Let's blow sheep up. Hey, Toulouse. And I would become the Minecraft streamer, Toulouse. We would be in direct competition. 3D sentence that I'm ready when you are, no pressure. It's an hour earlier for your 3D extended. Reminds me of a very simplified Worms game. Yeah, but I think the played over Twitch chat part is what's interesting. And also possibly frustrating for some people. Yes, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I think I'll do this one task. And then I think we will shift into the mentoring stuff. So it'll probably still just be on time. Yeah. So skill tree, how does this work? This is just a control. It's set to full rect, and then the VBox container is set to being in the middle. So this should be pretty simple to do, right? We just do the exact same setup we have over here. There's a margin container with everything. Oh no, that won't work. Because how I lay this stuff out. Raimi. Yeah, if I move this, does it move everything under it? It does. That can't work once I anchor stuff, right? I guess you can anchor this to the parent. Yeah. How can you do that? Successfully manipulated me then. Panel container, town perks. It's a player ability tree, which, yes, is a panel container. I don't think it needs to be, though. I think this can just be a control. The scale tree should also probably be modified. Oh, fine. Fine, fine, fine. Do this for the scale tree, too. Then don't we need to make sure that there's only one of these open at a time? This actually has an overlay background, too. Maybe what I should have done is put that into a component. How does it work? Yeah, I probably should make a component out of this. Has the overlay background, and then when you click that, it hides this? Yep. All right, well, that's how you should do this then. That means we should make a common component out of the like control with, what's it called? Overlay background. Obviously give it a better name than that. Save and load town hall. Wait a second. Yeah. All right. I don't think we'll have the time to do this. Let me put it this way. This is a variable length task. So maybe it takes 5 minutes, maybe it takes 10 minutes, but 3D Extended said that he's ready now. So I might as well just do the thing that's not variable length. Curious to see feedback on this. My friend mentioned he liked having the adventures pane open while doing other stuff in the game. Yeah, I think we might have a little bit of churn here. We had this even with items. I think in checkpoint number 1, how did it work? Only workers could carry items. And then I think in checkpoint number 2, we were like, okay, adventurers can carry items. But then people were annoyed that they seemingly deleted items, even though they didn't, when entering battles. So then at like 2.5, we said, okay, they can't carry items. And we changed it back and forth because other things were changing and we got other information about it. So part of the reason why we ended up with these in their own section of the screen, which I'm just waiting for this to launch. Yeah, so you currently see the skill tree like this. It's your focus in the game. And if you click the background, it hides it. The reason we did this is because you can have lots and lots of other dialogues open, like that and this, and maybe you've got, I don't know, like 5 other dialogues open, such that when the skill tree was like this, you were just like, man, there's too much stuff on the screen. So I think this makes it a little clearer what's going on. But this is technically just the problem, right? You shouldn't be able to have 6 dialogues open. And that's something that's known and that we're going to probably change into screen coordinate dialogues. So maybe once that's done, people do want the skill tree to take up just a tiny window on the screen. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know how much of this we're even going to allow them to customize. I'm here till 3 hours from now. All right, 2 hours and 59 minutes. We're going to cram all of your news into 1 minute. Then I'm going to look at the image and be like, why didn't you just make an image out of all this stuff? All right, I'm going to take a break. And when we get back, we're going to switch into mentoring mode. And yeah, this afternoon, you know what, really? We should just hold off on this afternoon. I should just skip right to this stuff. Yeah, this afternoon, just skip right to modifying customer state machines. All right, I'll be right back. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Raimu. I saw Raimu get stuck underneath a block and jump once and then pause and then jump correctly to come into third place. Ah, what a fun game. All right, close the game. So we're going to start switching into mentoring mode. Let me get my document for that. Mentoring prep. Okay, let's close all these tabs and open up this too. I'm going to try to scroll past this. I'm not reading anything right now. I don't want to be impacted by anything that 3D Extended has written yet. However, 3D Extended has so much stuff written down that I probably I'm just going to context set. I don't think I'm going to do much else. So anyway, let me switch into this other stuff that we have here. Studio, virtual camera. Where is mentoring? There it is. Okay, mentoring stream prep. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hang on a second, something went wrong. What happened here? Oh no, did getting a new monitor mess up OBS? Oh man. Ah, darn it. All right, sorry. Yeah, I'm glad I started this now, but yeah, this is not good. I can't tell if this is going to be fine. All right, what did I have this set to before? Set browser zoom to 125%. It's at 150. And set Google Docs zoom to 100%. All right, this might work. Generate an image summarizing my note. The joke is on me. All right, yeah. What I was about to say is, for those who haven't seen mentoring before, it is not an interactive session with chat. It's very hard for me to give full attention to my mentees and still talk to people in chat. So instead, I encourage you all to still chat. I tend to read it afterward, and so does the mentee usually. But yeah, don't expect a response during. If you want, we can move to Friday. Oh no. I fixed it. I just had to spend extra time now rambling about whatever I'm talking about. Okay, so we've set this up, set that up, just Discord, and yeah, so read the document, change the text and everything. All right, let's take a look. So I'm going to read through session number 7 and just, again, set context for myself. Because there have been 7 sessions at this point, it's practically impossible for me to fill everyone in chat in on what's going on. So yeah, sorry, but you'll probably just be in the dark for a little bit of time. How you been in general? Said it's been stressful. Buying a house in his off time. Wait a second. What? This was our last session? Was August? What? Huh. Yeah. That was a long time ago. Yeah, usually we did them more frequently. I was like, I thought this was, yeah, wow, weird. All right. Let's see. Vocal yes on the house. Need to sign a contract. A lot on his mind. Okay, so I'm just gonna write context for myself. House had been adding stress. Had only vocally said yes to the contract. Feels like missing a stress outlet. Or any breathing room, binge watching YouTube. Yeah, I said this was a sign of overwork. Sailing license. Yeah, and there was some timing and sort of risk assessment with that. Represents stress or work to you. Says the network event forum. Yeah, I like the sailing stuff. All right, yeah, no stress outlet. I think this was the very important one here. Too much to do for 24 hours a day. Procrastination. Just need more support during this time. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think this is the biggest one. Hey, no one of you. Yeah, missing a stress outlet, binging stuff in the meantime. Huh, interesting. I did not know that was a British English thing. I always consider this to be the vowel vomit of people typing things like dying like this. And then actual words do have an E before the ing, and I thought binging was one of them even in American English. But apparently it's a British English thing. You never know this stuff. Better stress outlet, realization about procrastination is fairly new. What doesn't work? Try books for leisure. Try a book for leisure. Thoughts get paused. Suggests to me that something needs to be addressed in your mind rather than finding an outlet. 2 aspects. Desire to fill time and cutting activities out. Professional help. Yeah. Suggested professional help. So it sounded like the outlets exist, but they aren't working. All were signs of overwork. Okay, sounds good. Questions I want to discuss. How does this relate to not building apps anymore? And missing prioritization. Priority list help there. Okay. So neighbors, barbecue, a couple of bullet points down. All right, cool. Yeah, the Berlin trips. Ooh, lots of commuting. Less business focused than I thought. It was nice. Got to know the leadership. Yeah, this is good. It was pretty much a morale event that was a multi-hour trip away. And I think 3D Extended drove there. Not that that's important. Yeah, even though we had a car, we didn't need it. Yeah, drove there. All right. Next 5 weeks, spending 4 weeks away from home. 3 weeks are Berlin. How was Berlin? You apparently went like 3 times since our last meeting. It's quite a lot. All right, because you have the reports opt into doing it remotely. Already done that. Okay, ours could be virtual. All right, imposter syndrome with leading people. This is toward the end of our last session now, so I'm almost done with looking through our old notes. Company does it. Oh, by the way, I should have changed my title before I even did any of this. All right, one-on-one career mentoring, Peter, session number 8. Let me go change this really fast. Oh, I got to save my old title. You know, YouTube has a feature that I like, which is you can reuse settings from a past stream. So that way you don't ever have to worry about overwriting a title or the description or anything. And then change the today command. I don't know who even uses this during the sessions. Maybe other people who've been here for a while use it. I should say 3D extended Peter. This is their 8th session together. Yeah. Oh, and then stop streaming to Steam. Yeah, let's do that. How do I even do that? Oh, I stop it in OBS. Do this in OBS. Docs, multi-stream. Docs, multiple output. Okay. When you plan on telling Adam how to pronounce Peter? I'm going to say it the dumb American way. Yeah, cool. All the rest of the stuff is done. So yeah, all we need to do is finish going through this. Ask directs for feedback. Yeah, so this is the last thing I think that's important. Imposter syndrome with directs. All right, cool. As soon as you let Adam know how to pronounce my name, stop it, both of you. Hey, Z-Wubs. All right, well, with that, I have had all of my context set correctly, so I think we can switch into this view. Check out this sweet fade in. Okay. let me call up Peter. Oh man. All right, I'm still trying not to read any of the news. Give me a sec. And video call. Pop out. Put that over there. Hello, hello.
Hi.
Hang on one sec. I'm just setting this up. Okay, cool. All right, chat. Can you hear Peter okay? Let me find my chat thing. Peter, why don't you tell me on a scale of 1 to 10, how much news do you have?
11.
11. Okay. Yeah, you can. Okay, cool. If that changes at all, chat, that's the only thing I'm going to be looking for during the mentoring session itself. So welcome, Peter. This is session number 8. We had signed up for 9 sessions, I believe. And I
Yeah.
know you have a lot to talk about. So I'm going to just let you kick this off. And yeah, let's get going.
Yeah. Hi. Yeah. Long time to see. I think our last session was about 3 months ago, so quite a long time, and a lot of news to catch you up on.
Mhm.
And yeah, as always, I have some bullet points taken care of and prepared. Um, I think I'm gonna switch more than usual
Sure.
through them, but yeah. Yeah, I expected you to start off the session with how have you been? You didn't, but I prepared some nevertheless.
Peter, hold on, hold on, hold
Um,
on. Can I interrupt for a
yeah.
sec? How have you been?
Good. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, it was a lot of news and a lot of new topics in the past few months, and I feel like I'm quite burnt out. That's why I've taken this week and next week off from work to catch up on personal stuff and yeah, relax a bit. Yeah, it was quite a rough patch, but I think especially last month. It got better, and I got into a routine that is providing me with some stress outlets, some yeah, better personal life, better time management, and yeah, it's getting better, but too slow for my taste, if you ask me.
Yeah. So first, I want to ask what led to taking the vacation? Was it a realization that I just can't keep up at this pace anymore? Was there a moment that happened where you just thought I'm too stressed? What led to that?
Um, it was another way around. So in Germany, we have 30 days PTO,
Mhm.
which you can scatter around the year, and we do this starting the year. So I got my plan in March this year, I think. And I planned 2 weeks vacation for this November, so around this time. But as soon as the house project started, I was considering shifting those 2 weeks into the next year to have more free time to renovate and yeah, take care of the house.
Mhm.
And I think 3 months ago now, we decided to still take this November vacation because it was too much of a gap between our last vacation and basically the new year where my next vacation was.
And
And
just to be clear, when you say too much of
yeah,
a gap, do you mean like country requirement of too much of a gap or your
no,
personal requirement?
my personal.
Okay, gotcha.
It was, as I mentioned, the new role, a lot of stress through work, and yeah, I needed the vacation, and I was happy I had the 2 weeks still planned for me myself.
Yeah. Yeah, I wrote, as you talk, I read some questions or notes to myself, and I do think you're sort of butting up against the limits of what you can do, and I don't think this is like at least old Peter would have thought this is a problem. I need to be able to do more. And I
Mhm.
don't think it's a problem from that point of view. I think it's a problem from the point of view of you can't operate at maximum capacity for very long stretches of time. So I think it's good you're taking a vacation. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's what the big. I think I had quite some revelations in the past few months, and one of them was you can't give 110% every day,
Yeah.
and this is something which is quite new to me, and I'm still struggling in some areas. I have some notes and questions prepared for you, but it is something I'm more aware of, more reflected over, and I'm talking about this with my colleagues, which is quite revealing as they struggle the same um, in some areas as myself. And yeah, it's not perfect yet, but I think I'm on a track where it is getting better.
Okay. Good. Good to hear. Yeah. I want to say something quickly, actually, which I was
Yeah.
debating on saying it all. But, I find that when I talk to other people in tech, I do find that my problems are not usually too unique. It's
Mhm.
things like, oh, hey, there are tons of tasks, or there's too much to do, or I'm stressed about this. And to some extent, I almost feel like tech jobs that pay well are just going to come with some of those stresses. And I don't know if you caught the interview I did with Sharon Lowe, but she said that almost it's like the tech industry isn't sustainable to some extent.
Hmm.
It's like we keep trying to squeeze more out of people, and yet productivity is raising. We're doing more than we ever have. These companies are making ludicrous amounts of money, and yet how is it that the workers are as stressed as they are? So anyway, it's good that you're talking to your colleagues about this, because I think that's, at least knowing you're not alone can always have some power to it.
And my colleagues, especially my manager, is quite he's seen more than myself, and his perspective is another one, more on the eyes on a sustainable career,
Yeah.
and it helps to talk about. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I'll let you steer the whole meeting pretty much. So yeah, go on to whatever
Yeah,
you
no
think
worries.
is good next.
All right. I think those points I've talked about. Yeah. So the one another thing that I think helped myself,
Mhm.
which I wasn't expecting to help this much, is as I mentioned, with my new role, a whole bunch of us got promoted into this manager position, and we are not a team yet. We are in some meetings together, and we talk about stuff, but we have no team spirit. And I think that is something we are cautious about and working towards to build, which didn't happen for the past 4 months. And I think it's refreshing, and it is something to look forward to, and helps in those situations.
Yeah. What are these kinds of things you're talking about for team spirit?
Um, from totally basic stuff like what is your um, idea, what your role has to offer, or what you're required to do to you can talk about personal stuff, and basically rant for 5 minutes about something that is bothering you, and
Wait. Is this?
basically.
Hang on one sec. Sorry. Is this with just the managers that you're sort of talking to each
Yeah,
other? Oh, I see.
yeah.
Okay. So my other question was, prior to 4 months ago, what had happened in terms of team spirit, but you wouldn't have
Mhm.
known because it was just for managers. So for
Right.
all you know, they had a system.
And with my promotion, there was a really big restructurization on the manager level.
Yeah,
So even if there were team building events or something in the team spirit realm, it wouldn't carry it over.
I see. Okay. And then, so you and your colleagues, if you say that you're all at sort of this layer, is there anyone at the
Mhm.
layer above you who's listening to these meetings who could do something about these rants, let's say?
Uh, Yes, and I think it's their fault that it took so long to start building this team spirit, because everyone was cautious about what they are saying. But I think there were quite a few one-on-ones that mentioned this issue to them, and
Hmm.
they reflected up on this, and it changed a lot of their meeting culture and how they lead meetings, um, which helps. Yeah.
It does. Also, there's just this point of view. I have a very kind of dumb example of this, but I've been hanging out in a different Twitch stream from what I normally do. They have a lot of viewers, and I'll sometimes make a joke, and then like there'll be 5 or 10 chat messages that sort of play on that joke somehow. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I influenced the flow of chat for some time.
Yeah.
You were doing this in a much more meaningful way, which is that you're starting to change the culture of your team. How does that feel to you? Do you feel like you've got an impact, that you're actually taking more leadership responsibility?
Um, I don't credit myself too much for this,
Hmm.
but it's. I don't know how much I influenced directly. I mentioned it to my manager, and he was the one changing the meeting culture, which helped. So yeah, I have some credibility in this, but it's nothing I'm crediting myself for.
Okay, I see what you're saying, and I'm not going to try to argue this, but you at least had a small part in this,
Yeah.
and there are going to be lots of things that, as a manager, it's sort of hard to fully take credit, but that you certainly moved the needle, you pushed
Mhm.
things forward. So, anyway, kudos to you for talking about this stuff, being open, joining these meetings, and just watching this change, because it is empowering to see that you can influence things even in a minor way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, let's talk about more career things.
Sure.
I have three big topics. Let's start with the obvious one for me. I mentioned to you that my 24-hour days are too short, especially my work days, which are basically 8 hours. And I'm way more selective which meetings I attend now. If I'm not directly added and required to attend those meetings, I try to stand away from them. It's not always working, and some of them are good reasons for them. Basically, your presence as a manager is required in some of the meetings, even though you are not directly named.
Hmm.
But yeah, I have way less meetings in some, but I have way more important meetings in my mind. But I don't know. Do you know the quote "busy is the new stupid"?
I've never heard that. No.
Okay, I don't know where it's from. I heard it a while ago. But I'm worried that those meeting, uh, my day is still packed with meetings.
Hmm.
But since I'm more selective of them, I feel like it's important to attend them, and I'm worried that I'm only I'm the meeting guy now. I'm only doing my work within those meetings and not working outside of meetings. And I'm not sure if this comes directly with my new position, or if this is my new procrastination way of doing still meaningful work, but yeah, deprioritizing some other tasks.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say there are two potential problems with this at a high level. One is that you're not prioritizing correctly, and the other is that too much is expected out of you. I don't think you're not prioritizing correctly. And at some point, that if there is too much expected out of you, it's either you somehow rise to meet this, you don't do all of the work, or they hire more people. Those are pretty much the only options because like you said, you can't keep operating on 110% all the time. So just keep an eye on that because like I said, at a high level, it's got to be kind of one of those things.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that I'm neglecting some tasks I know that are expected from me. So basically, answering emails that are directed at some mailbox I'm able to see, and what I don't try to neglect is my direct reports.
Hmm.
Those are my highest priority. That is what I'm setting myself up to. And even if I have to scratch some meetings, I those are my highest priorities.
Yeah.
But I know that there are some tasks within my direct reports I should attend, which I'm not because I have too few hours to make them work.
Yeah. Okay. There are a couple of components to this that I would say. One, it's okay if you're not initiating some of this contact with your direct reports,
Mhm.
as long as they know that that's the case. Because think of what it's like when you sort of first shifted in this role or when you first started at the company. A lot of people need the validation of like, this is normal, here's how things work. So is it clear to them that this is not a failing on their side or that, oh, Peter must be paying attention to more to other people?
I think so. I have an open roomed meeting, which basically every one of my direct reports has and can join into this meeting. And if they have something on their mind or yeah, might want to raise to me, that would be the option. And those meetings are quite rare attended. It's not that they come every day, every time, but only a few handful of people have used this meeting.
Well, so wait, this is what I was going to comment on. It's good that you have that, but I think if you were to take any selection of 50 people, just
Mhm.
randomly across any of your career, there's going to be 40 people who never go to that sort of thing. And
Yeah.
and those people are the ones who need to know that hey, nothing is wrong from my point of view, but if
Mhm.
something's wrong from your point of view, please do raise a concern whether or not you come to that meeting or email me. I think they need to know that's a route.
So how many times would you remind them of this? I had a first getting to know each other meeting, and I had the first round of official employee interviews and yeah, one-on-ones with them. And I mentioned that in those meetings to every one of my direct reports.
Yeah, I think as long it's like there's no hard and fast rule. If I were to tell you, hey Peter, please don't be late to these meetings. If you need to
Mhm.
be late, just reschedule ahead of time. I told you once like a year ago, and it's never been a problem. So I'm pretty certain that you've got it at the top of your mind. If you're also confident that these people know, yes, if I have a concern, I can reach out. Or if you ever see that it goes too far, as in they say, look, I wanted to talk to you about this 2 months ago and I didn't know how, that's an indication that, all right, now
Mhm.
you may need to make it clear maybe once every 6 months or 12 months or something. So
Yeah.
as long as you're pretty confident that they know, then yeah, that's all that needs to be done.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm pretty confident.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I am.
Okay. So let's
Okay.
see. Let me read the rest of this though. I know most of them are doing fine. Some of these. Oh yeah. Okay. So this is the last thing though. You said there are some issues that you know require your attention.
Mhm.
If you don't have the time now, and you know that these issues exist, will there ever be the time? Are they like medium priority? What's going to happen with those issues?
I think they would eventually get fixed, either by some other manager in my area or my level, or the direct report itself, themselves. Um, but it would take longer than when I would do it.
Okay. I wanna I wanna swap the roles for a little bit. You
Mhm.
are any one of the direct reports you have. You've raised this concern to new Peter.
Yeah.
Um, what would you want to have happen?
the, the answer is pretty obvious.
Yeah. Well, well, I guess let me say this. Even in this hypothetical where you're the direct report, you might recognize, yes, I'd like the manager to take care of this.
Mhm.
If the manager said, look, you could do this yourself, but it'll take long, like would you want to at least be steered in the right direction? As in, if the task would take you an hour, could you maybe take 10 minutes of your time and guide them a little bit better? Is that an
Mhm.
option?
I don't think so. I think that is an. We are talking about weeks of meetings to
I
do
see.
those issues. This my issue. If it's would we are not talking about 1 hour. We are talking about several weeks of continuous work on this topic, both by me and my direct report.
Yeah, I see. Yeah. Well, I know what you said about the whole, yeah, if I were the direct report, to be clear what I want. I don't I don't know the severity of this from just what you've said here. I don't know if it'll seem like them that you're sort of aloof or you're neglecting their issues. So, in all cases where something is infeasible, I think communication is the answer. And
Mhm.
because communication doesn't need to take nearly as long, you could say, look, this is on my radar. I'm sorry, I don't have time for this right now. I don't know when I'll get time for it. If it's incredibly important, here's a path you could take with another manager. Otherwise, I don't know, something along those
Yeah.
lines where at least they feel heard because you've already noticed the power of that. You talked to that direct report that you had that you were worried about originally, and they came
Mhm.
to you and they just said, hey, no one's ever listened to me basically.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to that. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think at the very least, as long as they're in the clear, um, I'll write that down. Is infeasible communication can be the next best answer. Yeah. And are there any concerns about anything else with this sort of cluster of bullet points?
Um, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think I should sit down with them and talk about this. And I wasn't able to do this before my vacation, and hence it's weighed up on me while preparing those notes. And yeah, it was good to talk about, but yeah, it affirmed my suspicion I had to speak with them.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Okay, so A relatively big change in topics for now. So I mentioned to you that I'm a manager, pretty much the lowest manager in my whole corporation,
Hmm.
and our company is a child company from a bunch of parent companies.
Hmm.
And I want to drill down on this hierarchy because there were some changes made upper in the chain, and I don't know how to react to this, and yeah, basically how to go about them.
Sure.
So my CEO of my company, which I will directly call and speak to, is a CEO underneath a sub CEO and underneath the corporation CEO.
Yeah.
So there are basically three layers, and all of them have the CEO title, and all of them have the basically the power to change the direction of our company.
Yeah.
And the sub CEO, no, basically, on our company level, there are several other companies. I think about 20 other ones.
Hmm.
And the sub CEO is the first manager that is directly holding accountable, hold accountable for all 20 of those companies.
Hmm.
And those companies were pretty strong in automotive in Germany, and I don't know if you followed the automotive market. It pretty much escalated in Germany, and pretty much the IT development in Germany is pulled from Germany, which made about 14 of our other sister companies basically swim for money. They are struggling to reach their goals told to the
I see.
corporation above.
Yeah.
And the sub CEO hence had to do something and has released a bunch of new policies ranging from which reports you have to take and how many reports a year or month basically and this is the one that is affecting my current position, has released some new policies about hiring externally.
Yeah.
And we are currently in a position where our company, working for the public sector, is doing pretty well. So well so that our we are turning down customer requests because we have no personnel and employees left to fulfill those requests from our customers. And hence, we would like to extend our employee workforce by about 35 new employees. But since the struggle of our sub CEO and the new policies, we are not allowed to hire new employees.
Yeah.
And this is frustrating on so many levels.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm in a position where my direct reports mention that they are unsure, they are frustrated, and they are insecure how the corporation will uphold our company and what the future holds for them. And on the other side, I would like to basically hire new employees and lift some of this frustration, build new customer bases and new projects. And I don't know what to tell my reports, and I'm not sure how I would deal with this situation.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of thoughts here that I have. For one, I've heard this a lot in my career where I go and talk to a manager about something and they're like, yeah, I recognize it's a problem and I can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
And to some extent, you're bound to get that answer as a sort of leaf node employee. It's like, oh, hey, I don't like the culture or I don't like the work pace or something else. And it's like, too bad. That's the environment. That's the realm that we live in now. So from that point of view, it's factual enough. You're not the CEO, you're not the sub CEO, you don't have that sway necessarily. And yet it's also not a super satisfying answer, but I guess it at least shows to your direct reports that you are aware of their problems and you can't necessarily do anything about it. So it is sort of adding some information. Do you know the sort of mathematical definition of common knowledge?
No.
Okay, so sort of colloquial definition is just we all know something, but
Mhm.
the sort of mathematical definition is we all know that the other person knows it, and we know the next level that I know that I know it, and so on and so forth. So
Yeah.
it's like perfect common knowledge. That needs to be communicated in order for you to be in that scenario. And that's what I think you'd do if you were to tell them, look, I recognize this. I can't do anything about it. So you are
Mhm.
actually adding some information there, even if it doesn't seem like you are. With that said, I think this is the problem with the one size fits all policies. Your sub CEO is, well, let's go back a level. Your CEO is responsible for, it sounds like about 20 companies. Is that right?
No, my direct CEO is responsible for one
Oh, one.
company.
Okay, it's the sub CEO who's responsible for 20. Okay, I
Yeah, right.
probably wrote something down wrong somewhere. But then presumably the, mega CEO is responsible for even more than 20. But this
About 500, 400,
500, yeah.
500.
So this sub CEO, is there any path? I guess they don't probably put a lot of weight in any individual of the 20 CEOs that they manage.
Mhm.
But is there any path to say, look, your policy probably makes sense for 18 of these 20 companies, but for mine and this other one, it doesn't. Is there any route of negotiating essentially?
I'm not sure. Frankly, that's the answer, and that's I think what's frustrating for me because I can't see what my CEO is doing in this one. It's I know they are talking with the my CEO and the sub CEO are talking, and they are bickering about figuring something out for as a special rule for us because we are basically making money in this case. But since nothing has affected those policies in the last whatever 4 months, 5 months this has taken on, I don't see that it is changing anytime soon.
Yeah. Yeah, the difficulty here is without having visibility into this, it's hard to know why the decision isn't being made. Because from your point of view, it looks very clear. We can make more money if we get more
Yeah.
people. Let us have the more people, right? But from the CEO's point of view, it might be we've told stakeholders that we're not hiring, which gives us a position of strength and whatever the optics of
Mhm.
this. So it's hard to know. And the other consideration, which is unfortunate, but it's like, let's say you do get these 35 people, and let's say your revenue goes up by 50%. That's
Mhm.
50% of 1/20th of the companies, of
Yeah,
one,
right.
whatever it is, 25th of
Yeah.
the companies. So yeah, maybe they're just like, who cares even? So yeah, I think it's hard. What was I gonna say as a result of all this stuff though? Yeah, so assuming that sort of doesn't work out, where do you see these frustrations taking yourself and other people? Is it to the point where you think you'd quit? Is it the point where you think, well, it's going to be hard to fight over work?
So we have quite the demographic in our company, and we are talking about succession management.
Hmm.
So basically, there are people leaving our company in the next few years, and we have to get their knowledge into the hands of fresh people,
Yeah,
and we need to hire them sooner than later. And I see it as a big risk for our future of our company, and I think that is the same as expression is made by our direct reports, by my reports. It is hard to get those knowledge transfers if you have no successors of those positions.
yeah. So here's a thought, and this is not a comforting thought, but these big companies are machines, and the machines are designed such that any person can leave and the machine keeps running. So without knowledge transfer, I know it doesn't sound great, but it's like it's not like the companies will all just grind to a halt. It would just be harder for the people taking over to figure out what was done. And that's life, right? That's why they kind of
Mhm.
call it the bus factor, right? One of those people who has all this information could get hit by a bus, and then it's as though you were playing out the situation
Yeah.
where you didn't get more headcount. So uh, yeah, maybe that's not comforting, and maybe it is. It's like the inevitability of just people would have to learn how to do the job, and that person who has the knowledge figured it out in the first place. Uh, yeah, I think this is what's tough though, is you're dealing with things where even if you could influence this, you're doing it through probably three layers of abstraction
Mhm.
here, going through your CEO and then the sub CEO, and then possibly they're going to their main CEO, and who knows who else is being talked to amongst all of that. So I think it's probably sort of damage control and figuring out how to message this to the people who matter, including yourself, to get to the point where it's like, okay, I can come to terms with this, and I recognize that yes, we're not getting a new headcount. So if you feel stressed, just really prioritize your work and recognize you're not going to be able to do the least important 40% of it.
What I'm wondering about is what are my options here? So basically, I'm responsible for writing some reports that are summarized and summarized and summarized, but still get on top to our sub CEO in this case. Am I raising risks in all of this? Am I adding stress towards our numbers in response to those policies in order to mitigate some of the damages that might be introduced through those policies?
So I don't think I understood that. You asked about risks and priorities here with these policies. What sort of risks are you talking about?
Basically, we are a public traded company, and we have to manage risk on an basically stakeholder level, and every business risk has to be mentioned through a chain to our CEOs. And I'm wondering if this is concern enough to raise those company risks, as some projects might be cancelled due to lack of succession management.
I know what you mean. Yeah. So one, I can't talk about the sort of legal requirements of this. I
Mm-hmm.
think so. Here's my point of view without knowing this. Is this a risk that will put the company out of business? Like, no, it wouldn't. Would it prevent profits from rising as much as possible? Yes, certainly. For your specific company, at least. So I don't know to what level you report the risk, but and what is your responsibility here? I think it's probably just to communicate it to the CEO, who probably takes full responsibility for
Mhm.
doing all of the publicly traded bits of it. So is your CEO aware that you could be taking on more projects if it weren't for this
Yeah.
policy? Yeah. And then is the sub CEO aware that your CEO feels this way? Because, like you said, it's been 4 months and nothing has changed.
I hope so. It's not my responsibility to follow up with my sub CEO. I
Yeah.
haven't met the guy. I don't know him.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you've done what you need to do. I think
Okay.
the only other part where your responsibility might come into play is communicating with your direct reports.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, really, there isn't too much else you can do. And it sounds like even if you were CEO of the company, there really isn't too much you can do other than have a conversation with this person, right?
Yeah, that's what's boggling my mind. I thought the whole idea of a CEO for a company is to decide which employees to take on and which not. And yeah, I wasn't aware of this, that our sub CEO has the power to influence our direct hiring processes like he has. Yeah.
Yeah, I will say this, and I think this is there are certain problems with working at any size company, right? Small company has problems,
Yeah.
large company has problems. When you're sort of at the small to medium level, acquisition sort of becomes the problem because it's like you get absorbed into a parent company and then get all of their culture and bureaucracy, and then maybe they get absorbed and you're witnessing
Mhm.
this play out, right? So when you have too many levels of management, too many people, too many cooks in the kitchen,
Yeah.
these problems arise. And who knows what's going to untangle these things, but it's not going to happen on a short time scale, and it's not going to be something you can probably influence without growing to the level of sub CEO or higher.
Mhm.
So I think at some point it's coming up with, are you okay with this potentially playing out repeatedly in the next few years? Because with this case it's hiring, but maybe in the future it's with, I don't know, whatever legal practices or trainings or who knows what.
I am, and that's I talked to my manager about this, and he told me, yeah, in the every few years, with some CEO changing, some new policies arise until they, yeah, basically have to be taken down again. I don't know. But yeah, I'm okay with this, as long as I know where my responsibility ends, and
Yeah.
that's where I'm struggling currently. I have a meeting 2 weeks after my vacation with with my manager to talk about this sort of stuff. Um, but yeah, I think everyone tries to do the right thing, and you don't know what the sub CEO has for information to basically decide some of those policies. And
Yeah.
hence, yeah.
And that's what can be tough too, because if only we had everyone's perspective, you could then
Yeah.
analyze, does this make sense? But without it, it's always, well, I only know what I know. And this is called the fundamental attribution error. You judge yourself by your intentions and you judge other people by their actions. And
Hmm.
if you think about it, it's like, well, yeah, of course I know what's going on in my own head. So I'm going to judge other people by just what I see them doing. Anyway, I think that's why the core question I asked at the end is what's important, which is if this just kept playing out, would you be okay with it? And by the way, even if you weren't in this situation, the other thing you might run into eventually is politics, which is just, hey, you only have the one company in the mix, but still it's hard to convince people how to do things. And there is no strict authority structure to get that to happen. So I think at the end of the day, it's like, if you don't want this stuff, you just need to be your own boss. All other times you need to deal with everyone
Yeah.
else that's doing this. So just to touch on that last part, your responsibility, like I said, I think is to communicate up the chain, which it sounds like you have. It sounds like your CEO knows what the issue is, and then to address any of the concerns of these coworkers, or
Hmm.
well, coworkers and direct reports. And then
Yeah.
the only other thing I haven't mentioned before, so this is not just summary, is you mentioned the knowledge transfer of some of these people that you know are
Mhm.
leaving. Knowing that there isn't the headcount to hire new people, I would say that you do the next best thing, which is knowledge transfer to a knowledge base and not to a person.
Mhm.
So make sure that that stuff's written down, it's documented, practices are known, because a lot of this stuff, you do something maybe once a year that when you're right about to leave, you don't think about that thing you do once a year.
Mhm.
You're just like, oh, I've already transferred all the knowledge. I covered my day
Yeah.
to day. So yeah, you get the people who have to transfer knowledge to put it into a database instead of a person. Yeah. Well, knowledge base, I guess.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Now you mentioned this next thing here of if we have enough time. We
Yeah.
have been going since 10:57, so we have about 27 minutes, I think.
Yeah. I would say let's keep going the career route and later talk about the personal stuff.
Okay,
I have one thing that is bothering me, and I'm not sure how to react to this.
sure.
Basically, we have so I'm the manager of a chapter that is called software development with focus on front end development.
Yeah.
So the company has tried to find all the front end devs and put them into my chapter so I can do basically training, skill management based on this suit and the needs of my reports and a more focus group.
Hmm.
And um, so I'm front end focus in my chapter lead role, and I'm the manager of people that are split across 4 different projects, and
Yeah.
2 of them started working with Angular about 4 or 5 years ago, and
Mm.
made the switch from a basic fat client to basically web development.
Yeah.
And now is the time for one other big project to move to web development, and the management side of this is the decision is made. We are sticking to Angular because this skill is basically in our company. We know how to do it. We have the know-how. We can shift resources easier if
Yep.
we have all the tech stack, and we can reuse stuff that is already implemented. You know the drill. The basic managerial manager view on this topic.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I was trying to hire new web developers to support this project change for the new for this third project, and had really struggled to find Angular devs or basically any senior dev that wants to work with Angular or within those project requirements. And before the project started any Angular development, I asked the architects if they would still support the decision made by managers to use Angular in the project.
Mm-hmm.
And basically they returned with the statement, yeah, it doesn't hurt too much to use Angular. It's still good enough. And basically they did a complete architectural decision record on ADR, and listed Angular as still what has to be done.
Yeah.
And my issue is I'm not sure if I first trust my architects to want to use Angular, and second, where do I find new employees aside from the new policies released by my sub CEO? If I haven't found them the past 6 months, I'm not expecting to find them the next few months.
So
And I'm not sure how to react in this situation.
I have some thoughts here. One, you mentioned a while ago you'd like to eventually be CTO. And I wrote here that this is your time to flex. This is your like, I'm gonna act as CTO right now. And I have to say, your manager's points are valid. So they mentioned this bit about we have the skills and we have some of the code. And something I want you to consider, because this might be a new lens for you. You are a go-getter. If you were told there's some new like the foo framework that doesn't exist yet, and the company decided, you would go learn it. And not only would you learn it, you'd try to excel at it and you'd try to do everything you can to be good at it so that you could fit into the job. Most people are not like that. And they want to like use the skills that they have. And I think you mentioned this. I think it was either you or Kyle, so I'm sorry if this is wrong, but one of you mentioned a principal engineer on their team who was frustrated with a new process that was happening. And I was like, yeah, how long have they been in the company for? Oh, a very long time. And I was like, that's it right there. So there are lots of people who are working who want to use what they have, and they are human resources. And if you were to try replacing them in this climate that you have where you can't hire new people, it becomes even tougher. So it's like, there are lots of reasons beyond just the face value of being able to reuse skills that is actually potentially the right decision to make.
Yep.
The other thing I was going to say here is that if you were to take a senior dev who does not know Angular but knows, the next best thing, maybe Vue, maybe React, they can learn Angular. They just wouldn't be an expert from the get-go. And if you find people who are motivated enough to go learn it to the level that you would want them to be at, because you can't find the people who already have it, maybe in the area, that could be a sufficient second choice. Just to find the people who can get the specialization that they need. So just what are your thoughts on that stuff? Because I know I said a few things there.
I agree with the perspective of my managers, but I think they haven't been in the market for a new Angular dev and don't know the struggles to get one. And if you are struggling now to find an Angular dev because all Angular devs are switching to React or Vue, then it is not gonna be get better in a few next years. And the project is large enough where I'm thinking about the next 10 years and not the next year or two.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how to weigh in this risk or this concern with the totally valid and good points by my other colleagues. And I would have hoped another statement from my architects in this project, especially in a world where React and Vue are. Look at this Stack Overflow survey they do every year. Angular is on the declining branch, and Vue and React is still on the uprising side of things. So I'm not sure if it's if it is the wisest decision, and I'm not sure if we can now see what the risk will play out in a few years.
I have an extreme counterpoint, which is, and I unfortunately don't know a lot about this, but some
Mm.
banks still use COBOL, the
Yeah.
language. There are almost no COBOL developers, and yet
Mhm.
they've somehow determined that it is worth paying these people a lot of money rather
Yep.
than converting, I don't even know how large of a code base, to something much more modern and gaining all the benefits that come with it. And like I said, I think on one end, that's on the extreme, and
Mhm.
you're nowhere near an extreme on either end right now. Hang on one second. Sorry. You're nowhere near the extreme. Hang on. But still, there are these considerations to be made. And I think this is the politics situation playing out to some extent.
Mhm.
Well, it's not quite politics. The architects have a different view and they produce that ADR that you talked about, which presumably you could go look at and see what their reasons were,
Yep.
right? Yeah. And you say you just don't agree with their reasoning, or you don't think they're taking in the full landscape of the situation?
I think they took the cheap way out and listed Angular as one of the possible options we could go, and React and Vue are on this ADR as other options that might be considerable if they have some benefit they didn't see. So basically they wrote there is no reason why we shouldn't use Angular, at least from the technical perspective.
Yeah. So I think, hang on, sorry.
No worries.
Excuse me. There are kind of two ways to look at this. One is the route where, let's say you couldn't fight this at all. How would you still make it work? And the way you'd probably make it work is by hiring non-Angular devs to learn Angular.
Mhm.
The other route is to try to convince people to shift away from Angular, which, by the way, I think represents quite a lot of work and maybe something that you don't have the sort of resources to do as a
Mhm.
company. And I think that's always the struggle. It's like, do we tackle tech debt and make our coders happier? Or do we make more features and make our customers happy? And yeah, this is one of those cases. So again, imagine that you're CTO and you see these problems playing out. It's hard to find new Angular devs, and the architects feel like Angular is still going to be good. You probably know more about the code base and how much would need to change, how much expertise across the company we need to change, how many trainings, how many just like, well, here was a way of doing things in Angular, and now here's how we do it here. Who's going to make the
Mhm.
components for these things? What would you recommend if you had control over this?
My gut feeling tells me Angular is not the wisest choice,
Mhm.
and that is what is struggling with in me. Um, I'm not sure if our company has the resources to fight Angular or switch away from Angular, um, especially with the new release policies from our upper management. So I would like to quantify this, and I can't, and that's my issue, I think.
Could you talk to an architect and say, look, practically speaking, we can't find Angular devs. Look at the Stack Overflow surveys; it's on the decline. One, could you talk to them? And two, what do you think they would say?
I can talk to them, and I did talk to them, and I think my issue is I can't understand the reasoning behind them. Everything I found online, especially the surveys on Stack Overflow, point to the different choice, and I am wondering why they did come up with Angular at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, well, look, let's say we were to assume that they are very competent and that they actually did
I
pick
think so.
Angular sort of correctly. I don't think that you're at the point where you could go wrong in either direction.
Mhm.
Angular is still probably sufficient. I think it's a good enough option. And maybe if you were considering a timeline of 50 years, it might not be. But then again, maybe Angular gets popular again. And switching could also incur some costs that are unclear right now. Maybe it slows down your development cycle to the point where you now have sort of two projects ongoing, the Angular maintenance project along with the conversion project. The conversion might take a year or more for some of these things. So I think it's worth at least considering some of that. And I think it sounds like you've kind of done what you can. You talk to the architects, it's not clear. I'd say if it truly just isn't clear still, you might want to talk to them from the point of view of, look, can you pitch Angular versus React to me and tell me what the pros and cons would be? Maybe that could get you a little bit more out of them to at least, here's what I think would happen. I think it might give you confidence that your architects know what they're talking about and have considered it and just didn't put it into words because they thought this is a foregone conclusion. I've already convinced the people I need to convince. And oh, Peter's talking to me about this. Just go look at the document, So maybe that could work. Yeah. And maybe it's intensely unsatisfying. Maybe you find out they're like, React, I don't know what that is. And you're like, oh God, this is much worse than I thought. But I think that could be a good first step.
Yeah.
Pitch me Angular versus React. Best case scenario, you realize that they know what they're talking about. Worst case, what's React? Yeah. And I think you're at a level, you're getting to a level where more and more of these problems are going to come down to this. You might have a feeling for how something should be done, and it's just practically impossible to fight the machine of what is being done. And you make peace with it or you try to change it. It's the fight or flight, essentially. And sometimes you're going to want to fight it, and sometimes you just need to figure out, how do I live in this world where I didn't agree and not have that affect my day-to-day job? So this is one of the sort of oblique strategy for getting to the point where possibly flight is like you're accepting of it. It's okay. So yeah, I do suggest doing that. Mm-hmm. Does that sound okay, by the way? Is that a different perspective? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that is something that changed in the past few months since we last spoke. That is something that is new to me, and it's showing that you have the same thoughts about this as I do, but I know with the policies mentioned as well, I am at a level where I'm not the one deciding, and sometimes you have to live in the world where someone has decided the sometimes worse option for you, and
yeah, and I think if you were to have enough sort of bad options shoved onto your plate, that you might get to the point where you say, okay, I'm sick of this company. And I don't sense that you're getting to that point, because we even talked about the last topic and you'd said, no, I'm fine with this playing out for the next few years with the hiring practices and the CEO sublevels. But yeah, maybe you get to the point where you don't like it, and maybe you're the CEO at that point when you've decided that.
CTO, please.
CTO, yeah. So in those cases, though, you would have gotten such an amount of experience and perspective and insight. And the way I look at this is, every job you go to, you learn some technical stuff, this language, this technology, but then you also learn what you like and where your life is shifting you, such that the next time you get a job, you might say, I really liked the whole, well, I guess you're in Germany and get this anyway, but 30 days of vacation time. And I really didn't like this aspect. And you try to sort of pick and choose what is the ideal role. So yeah, I think you've got the right view on a lot of this stuff. And like I said, I do highly urge you to talk to the architects and try to figure out more of, do they know what they're talking about at least? And I just disagree, or do they not even know what they're talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. I think that was all my career points I brought with me today.
Okay, sure.
So if you don't have anything for this, I would switch into the personal stuff. I don't think we need quite as much time there.
Okay, let me just take a quick look. Okay, yeah, I'm good. We got about 5 minutes left.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I wanted to give you an update on the sailing license deal. So I went sailing again. It was a long weekend, Friday to Monday. It was a really nice sail with my brother and a friend. We met on a sailing cruise last year, 2 years back,
Mm-hmm.
and I mentioned to you the sailing license, and it was something that is bothering me and putting stress on my mind. And I think I found a way to deal with this. I set myself a deadline. If I do it, I want to do it this year, but I don't force myself to learn for this stuff. The interesting part about this license is I'm fascinated by the contents of the license, and either way, even if I start learning a few hours and decide not to take the pen up for the next few months, it wasn't something I uh, would cry over
Yeah.
or be sad over, because it was still something I wanted to know and learn, and yeah, studying this because I want to learn this stuff and not studying for the license at the moment. And this had me. This was a realization after our last session. I don't have to get the license if I know how to sail. My brother has the license, and I think it was the competitive one in my mind that wanted to get this license 100%. And
Wait, whoa, hold on a second.
yeah,
Okay. I recognize that the realization didn't need to happen in the moment, but it wasn't a requirement. I thought here was, well, let me just share what my understanding is first. So
yeah.
I thought the government was going to change the process such that it was going to take even longer if you were going to train the next time. And if you didn't have this
Mhm.
license, you couldn't train other people to, I don't know, become licensed themselves or something like
Yeah,
that.
right.
Okay. So
That
what?
that is still the case, but since I'm on the endeavor with my brother together, and he has the license, it is.
Oh,
I'm not signing the paper, but he is in my name.
I see. I see. I see. I see. Okay. So your brother went through just to be clear, the new process.
No, the old one.
Oh, you just didn't finish going through the old one because you know how to
Yeah,
sail?
right.
I see. Okay, I understand everything now. Gotcha. I was like, wait a second, this just came down to you being competitive, but okay, it's clear.
Yeah.
So yeah, his brother can do would have been needed to license people for Peter, so it's not much of a loss. Okay.
And maybe I still do it, but it's nothing that is bothering me as much as the last time.
Yeah.
And I think it's boiling down to what has given me stress, and where can I lift my stress for myself. And this license thing was one of them.
Okay, hold on. I recontextualize and process this now a little bit
Yeah,
more. So you knew this though last time. You knew that
yeah,
your
I
brother
know.
had a license and you knew that he
Yeah.
could do this stuff. I'm trying to think of, hold on. So if you knew this, but you hadn't realized it was out of competition, and if I had known this, I could have suggested that, oh, hey, you could just go this route, right? And then we could have identified it in the meeting. But yeah, okay, I didn't. All right, cool. All right, I'm
I
on
did
board.
not realize the option that my brother could be there for me.
Yeah,
I wasn't thinking about the dependency there. Yeah.
got it. Okay, I processed everything. I'm cool
Okay.
now.
Great.
So I see a very tiny picture though. Can I
Yeah.
expand it?
Yeah. Sure. Do it.
All right. Except for then I
It
also got
was
it.
it was the first sale in the night, and this was a night picture I took on my iPhone from the sailing boat.
Hang on a second. I'm busy breaking everything because I'm streaming and I can't just expand pictures and have
Sorry.
it. It's too bad there's no way to just like open this in a new browser. But anyway, it looks gorgeous from what
Yeah.
I can see.
And
Um,
this was pitch black for the naked eye. It was
oh,
yeah,
okay.
it was
Yeah.
stunning to see this image later on.
Wow. How
Yeah.
long was the exposure set to for this?
I think it was 6 seconds.
Okay. Yeah, wow. Well, it looks great. Um, much scarier in negative color mode, which is what I have for Dark Reader. But very pretty when it's in positive color.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, by the way, I think your plan is good. Set the deadline for yourself and then stop worrying about it afterward. And I feel like in general, sort of worry, stress, anxiety, they do very little for us, except they
Mhm.
can in small doses potentially be good for things, you know, like, hey, there's a scorpion nearby, don't get stung by it. Okay, great. Yeah, worry about that. But yeah, don't worry about this stuff. And you have a backup route now, which is your
Mhm.
brother signs these licenses. So yeah, I think it's good where things settled here. Actually, I think that brings us to time. So I would like to hear about more, but we do have another session planned, and I'll follow up with you about booking it. Oh, yeah, sure.
One last thing. There's a second image I mentioned to you. I put all my notes into ChatGPT. That's what Dali came up with.
Wow, it's you working and then you working some more. Who would have thought?
But with a pretty sailing boat in
With
the
a pretty
background.
sailboat, yes, in the background. I see. That is good. I will hopefully ask you about this stuff next time. And yeah, it's great though to hear. I'm glad your vacation's coming up. I'm glad you're sort of on the right trajectory on stress management too. So good talking to you, Peter, and thanks for the session. Thanks for preparing all these notes.
Thank you for your time, and yeah, have a great week.
Yeah, and you have a good rest of your night. See you, Peter. Bye. All right, chat, you know the drill. It's clapping time for Peter, but hang on, let me get back to the right scene here and show this. Good job, Peter. Thank you for being on the stream. I always say this, but it takes a lot of guts to talk about your issues in front of a live audience and still sort of be in the right mindset, because it's not just talk about your issues or bring these things up or go through the notes. It's also process what's being said and figure out, do I agree with this? Is there any more input I need to give? So I'm going to scroll through chat really fast because there's very little of it. Let's see. Saying no and shielding us. Yeah. Being any time to get this. Yep. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, and by the way, this I think is a very interesting aspect of management, which is learning when your direct reports should even know that something is going on. Like, don't add pressure to someone if that pressure isn't going to do anything different with their lives. It's only going to subtract. And it's like if I told you, hey, there's an earthquake coming up in a year, you'd be like, I'd want to prepare for that. But if I said that, oh, hey, you know, my manager is switching and it could cause a lot of churn, it's like, what is your direct report going to do? Hey, Rolling Stone. Yeah. So I think this is really good. I'm gonna write myself a note for tomorrow because I have a couple things I want to do tomorrow. One is put the mentoring video online, schedule another session with Peter, add the new outline of the doc, and link it in the spreadsheet. Yeah, so I already touched on this earlier, but I wanted to do 9 sessions with all of my mentees. We've just done number 8 with Peter. We had number 8 with Kyle already. So we're going to be on the 9th session with both of these people soon enough. I mean, I don't have one booked with Peter yet. And then on number 8 with Rami. And I actually talked to Rami about maybe ending after 8 sessions. So I'm not totally sure if we'll do 9 with that. Then after that's done, we've just done 3 long series. I think I want to switch into one-off mentoring for a bit. And I think I also want to make it be paid. And I think I want to use the money for community building. And I guess what I mean by this is like Discord and events and stuff. So I'm not totally sure, but that's at least what my plan is for this whole pipeline. But I haven't put a lot of thought into it. Yeah, and thank you too, 3D Extended. Yeah, it was a nice session. I'm always glad when people have a lot of content prepared and there's stuff to chew through, because that way I know it's important to you. Otherwise, I'm just sort of prying around trying to figure out like what are we where can I provide value? Flying Peter to Adam on a community building budget. I think that is much higher than the budget. What I was thinking about, I think I wrote the cost would be, if I were to do series, like this would be per session in a series, and maybe it'd be like 130 for a one-off session. This amount of money would probably allow me to hire someone at like, I don't know, hang on one second. My wife has called twice now, and the first was in the mentoring session. I'll be right back. Okay. She said, "Can I pick you up? I need your help." She didn't sound like panicked or anything, but I don't know what she's talking about. So I was already gonna go get lunch. I think the only thing this changes is I don't know when I'll be back because I have no idea what's going on. The only thing I can think is we had a package that was delivered to us, or should have been delivered to us, that got delivered to some other city instead. And I don't know what you do in those situations because I've never had that happen. So I don't know if we're going to like go pick up a package or something, or if I'm on a secret agent mission now. Anyway, what I was gonna say really quickly, and then I gotta go, is I was thinking of paying someone whatever it is, $20 an hour, and this might work out to like 5 hours per month or something like that. And just whatever they come up with, they come up with. So I don't know. A rookie Twitch streamer, and I'm trying to learn reverse engineering. Can someone mentor me in this journey? You know who I reached out to a while ago about, I guess it wasn't reverse engineering, it was more about hacking. Yeah, I think for reverse engineering, you'd probably want to find someone who's doing it already and who's good enough at it. And yeah, I don't think I could help you in that on that front. But like I said, based on that phone call, I'm gonna get going. Normally I'd be back after an hour. I can't promise a particular time now. So I'll see you when I see you, I guess. I do plan to stream again, and maybe it'll be an hour, maybe it'll be 2 hours from now, but if not for today, then Friday. Have a good rest of your day, everybody. See you later.